Last we left our heroes, you'd set foot on Nessian soil for the first time and began your doomsday march towards the secret location of the King of Hell's true form. You began in the Reaper's Canyon. Invisible, Valentine flew out of the canyon's edge to locate a safe and expedient path through the labyrinth. Confident in his assessment, you began to quietly follow and make your way through the canyon's many routes. Keeping silent and out of sight is key to this leg of your journey, lest word of the presence of the heroes of Vesaria make its way to the right figures of power, or even the king himself. Even if alarm bells start to ring, the jig may be up, and the course of history and future to come becomes muddy. For now, you kept your heads down, and after a few missteps and wrong turns, found your way. The end was in sight when a pack of hellhounds hunting in the canyon crossed your path, sending you all scattering to shadows. Having caught some scent, or perhaps bad luck, they were growing closer to you. Pulling out a scroll of mislead, Valentine sent his illusory duplicate, flying out over the gorge and low over the cracked earth. Immediately, 2 hounds gave chase, but 1 remained. With that one, Hondo the Blue stepped up, and with the precision and swiftness of an assassin, felled the beast with nary a sound. You were safe in the canyon. However, above, the illusion of Valentine flew on a beeline course towards a pair of watchtowers. And just before he could cease the cast, a pit fiend guardian had caught the image. While it decided its course of action, you all crept out of the heart of the canyon and tucked into the shelter of some small caverns along the base of the face to await your next challenge, the Bridge of the Damned. You saw a gorge 200 to 300 feet across, protected by hundreds of hell wasps, these 7-foot-tall murderous hornets that nest within the gorge and around the various bridges that cross it. Here you waited and pondered your best course of action for crossing open terrain, and as you did, the sound of that pit fiend caught your ears once more, seemingly commanding a group of lower devils to search the canyon for the elf, before flying over the gorge itself and off in the same direction that you were traveling, and swiftly out of sight. Fearing what may come, you elected to try to cross the bridge quickly and quietly, hoping not to alert the insectoid guardians. You learned their eyesight was extremely poor and hoped to use that to get across quickly. However, your presence was ultimately detected, and they did come to investigate. Though not immediately threatening, they were more probing in the unknown, but you were quickly surrounded by about a dozen or so, and before more were called, you decided to quickly strike out and kill and move before more would be alerted. Their bladed appendages dealt significant damage, and the droning buzz of the hives threatened to slow you all down, but with your strength and willpower and some quick thinking, you caused a big enough distraction to not bring more enemies into the fight, killed a dozen or so that were nearby, and eventually found shelter in a low cavern on the other side of the bridge. As you all slide down into the subterranean cavern, you did get a glimpse of the expanse before you. Massive fields of cracked earth toiled in rows like farmers' fields. Further on, you saw a monstrous mass of red earth that pulsated with veiny protrusions. Looking on it turns your stomach slightly. And then further than that, the infernal nail of Malsheem, the citadel of Asmodeus, that looms just beyond the spawning grounds. As we begin tonight, however, you are sheltered from the world above in a small cavern where a shelf of rock has kind of collapsed in to allow you to slide beneath ground level. It is stuffy, and it is even hotter here than above. But you are safe and alone for now. What do you do?
I don't even know if I said this before the recording stopped, but I'm going to ritually cast Liamon's Tiny Hut just to give us a little extra protection here.
Easy enough. Take the first 10, 11 minutes to go through the process of making sure you're safe should anything come poking about. In those 10, 11 minutes, is there anything anyone else wants to do? Or are you guys just taking a breather and recovering and then waiting for the bubble?
Can we see the direction where the pit fiend went, the spotted vow?
You lost sight of it as you guys sprinted and then like slid down. You're down out of sight. You were under the ground by only like 10 feet or so, maybe 15 feet down. You could crawl back up and see if you can spot it. You know it went roughly in the same direction that you're traveling, like towards the spawning grounds and towards Malsheem, but where it deters its path, you're not sure. And you can go out if you wanted to try and get another look at it, but you're not sure as of now.
We're technically at 2 hours and 5 minutes, 2 hours and 10 minutes?
Yes. So we are. You're still ahead by about that. But yeah,
we jumped at 3 hours. Basically, was the idea, I think.
So we need to make a decision about. We need to take a rest at some point. Question's where.
This is a good spot, potentially. We're off the beaten path. I'm already casting my hut. I think the closer we get to Malsheem, that scary fucking place, the harder it'll be for a short rest. We have to cross. I have it in my notes here. Valentine takes out his notebook. We have to cross the field of the dead, then find the base of the Serpent's Coil, which is in the base of Malsheem. The field of the dead and the spawning grounds, I think that's where like devils are literally spawned, or some sort of baddies.
Do we have to die to go there?
You might.
I'm pretty sure we got into hell, and that was the hardest part. Was that, in terms of whether or not we have to die.
Come back here. Stop running so far away.
Oh, is it not working with my audio?
Yeah, your audio is not with you wherever you are.
You must be on laptop audio.
I can hear you in my stupid microphone. Now, does it sound better?
Yeah. We good. Hey, you just kept walking backwards that bridge. You're freaking me out.
Oh, shit. Well, now everything's super loud in my headphones again. Okay, sorry. Give me a sec. You guys can keep talking.
I will fill in the gaps. Who's real hurt? I'm at 144. I mean, I got all my spells. Kev, what are you at? And by Kev, I mean
122.
122? Okay. Brawley and Mary, did you guys get hit?
179 out of 250 for me.
Damn. 124 for Mary out of 204. Gordo, do you have your stat block? What's your health at?
I'm at 98 of 134, but I also have 5 temporary.
Fuck, that's low though.
And to Brock's point, in the last fight, you did end up using. I used a Steel Wind Strike, and one, maybe two of your spells, two of your 5th level spells, but you get back on short rests. But as of now, you are down 2 of your packed slots.
I don't remember that.
It was pretty dope.
Last weekend.
You did a really cool Steel Wind Strike in classic Gord form.
That does sound like me.
I believe also, Val, you get back your inspirations on short.
Yeah, I think I'm out of all of them. I have 3 left, and I've burned those. I burned 1 first level pack slot, but 3 of my seconds from all the silences. That's right. I don't get those back, but that's all right. Let's just call it. Do we want a short rest here? This is probably the best spot. I think we got to do it for Gord. Gord needs spells.
Sure. Short rest no matter what.
And I mean, not just for Gord. Like, we need health too, but Gord's vital to this party.
Well, Elena and I get shit back from short too.
This will put us pretty close to when the jump happens. So just know that the clock is officially running. Okay, let's short rest. No more dilly-dallying.
Okay. You guys tuck in, safe and sound, protected by the rune of divine protections that shields you from scrying and divine divination magic, and aided in the protections by Liam's tiny hut, tucked down in here. You guys go through an hour of a short rest. Go ahead and hit your short rest. Roll your hit dice. Get back any of your various skills. If Valentine wants to, can do a Song of Rest.
Yeah, great call. Totally forgot I had that. Oops, I might need to do more than that. Did I not roll it? Short rest. Oh, I guess I roll it manually. Oh, I see how it works. Cool. I fucked up.
I'll also point out, just because there's so much time in between our games, if there's any items or preparations that you want to use leading up to your final encounters, now's the time for long-term stuff. If there's anything you're hoping to cast kind of right before, obviously wait until you get to like the edge of the coil, and hope that you have the time to get it off if it's a longer cast. But you are currently in like what you deem to be the safest position for any kind of prep things. If there's any items or consumables or anything like that that you want to pop that has longer than an hour, now's your probable time.
You want to change your attunements too?
Attunements, yeah.
Yeah, I'm at full, and then everyone, you'll also get an extra. What is Song of Rest these days?
Just like that. I thought it's a D10.
I also have something with short rest that I can do.
Oh, I think you have Song of Rest too now.
Yeah, you have enough levels.
That would
in
help
guard
me out.
I can do Song of Rest.
As the two of you do a duet.
It's
in the
awful.
bowels of
Mine's only 2 extra points.
All right.
So I just sing to
An old sea shanty.
No, I'll go shout, let it all out. That's supposed to calm you down.
Echoes out of the cavern to the awaiting fiends on the other side.
Yeah,
You actually need to subtract his.
That's right.
Yeah, that's negative
You
damage.
got to roll your. Is it just your bardic inspiration dice?
No,
Roll
it's based on your
what is it for you?
level.
I'm trying to find it. Where would it be under?
It's in
It's
your
under
features and
traits.
I got it right here for you, Kev. It's a D6 for you.
Okay.
Song of Rest. This is just additional to everyone else.
I rolled a 6.
There you go. So everyone can add a total of 8 hit points from your 2 bards. And then whatever your various hit dice. And remember to add your Constitution modifier each time you roll a hit dice.
I am changing my attunement to get my shield back.
Yeah, that's smart.
This hat did nothing for me.
Hey, it was worth a shot. You reattune to the shield, hovers
Back up to full.
onto your back. Is anyone else changing out any attunements or taking any consumables or using any items?
So what do we have for those fancy items? And there's certain things that take like a minute too, right?
Yeah, so
These would be the like ambrosia things. Let me pull them up.
things that are going to be a minute or longer to use. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get to use in combat. You can save them to use them at a different point in time. I'm just kind of bringing it up now as you have time, if it works, to use it now.
So ambrosia dust gives you have to paint it on the person. Dust is painted on the creature. The dust is absorbed by the body, leaves their skin glistening with a sparkling golden hue. 24 hours, the painted creature gains resistance to radiant, necrotic, and advantage on charisma and constitution saves. My con's really good. My charisma's really good. I wonder who should get this.
What I'll say is, you guys are very high level adventurers. You've faced these kinds of saves before. Traditionally, charisma saves are going to come from trying to force you out or pull you into something, typically a teleportation, plane shift, stuff like that, banishments. That's when you're looking at charisma saves. Sometimes they can be other like force of will things, but typically it kind of falls more into the wisdom saves. And constitutions, to fall very often into pushing yourself beyond your limits, resisting poisons, and damage that is typically more physical, cold kind of things, poisons and necrotic attacks all typically fall into the constitution world, as well as your constitution saves for maintaining concentration. Now, you already would have advantage if you had Warcaster, but this would otherwise give you that.
Mary, I'm thinking maybe you take this. Because Gordo has resistance to necrotic. Still has that, right? From the Raven Queen? And then, I mean, Brawly, I guess you could be another consideration. You don't get resistance from Radiant Necrotic, do you? It's everything but that. Oh, she does?
Everything but psychic for Alan.
Oh, so you are resistant to those already.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try not to be hit a lot of the time. But I have saving throws, charisma's plus 12 for me, cons plus 10. How do you feel about this, Mary?
I mean, yeah, I guess it's either myself or Hondo. I'm gonna be
Hondo?
up on the shit, beating the shit out of him with my sword. So
I'm thinking I'm just gonna write down in my little note. Yeah, my notepad, it's so handy.
so sorry. Remind me how long. I was trying to fix my headphones the whole time. Remind me how
24
long.
hours.
Oh, okay. Is that the one that makes you glow?
Yeah, and I think you'd look so good with a little glow. Just a little healthy glow.
Make it complicated to get in there, though.
It's
just
like,
a little
It's not like a
sparkling
glow more than any of your various magical items glow. You know,
Okay.
it's not.
It's
you don't
not like
literally cast bright
disadvantage on
light from your
stealth
face.
glow?
No, it's nothing like that. It's more of a cosmetic thing that I just thought sounded kind of fun.
Gonna make me
You're
sparkly on top of everything else.
Your skin's so used to like not the sun, from all the rooftops at night. I think you would like a nice, rich tan would just look really.
You say that, and yet
set
I've been
it off.
outside so much, I just freckle. Like that's not.
Well, this
just-
could
just
like really add a
everywhere.
nice hue to that, though. You know what I mean?
All right. Is it an
Hondo
action
has to
take?
paint it on you. Yeah, Hondo
Oh,
spends
it's
the
a
next.
10-minute thing.
We didn't say how long it takes, but our lovely DM can choose that. Next up,
As long as you're doing it during a short rest, I don't care.
Ambrosia Nectar. This is 8 hours. When you use, it basically gives you a luck. Oh wait, let's see. When you make an attack roll, an ability check, or saving throw, you can expend one of these points to roll an additional d20 and
It's a
choose which
luck.
of them you use.
So for 8 hours, you just get a luck.
You get 1 luck point,
One.
Two.
2 luck
Oh.
points.
Each point, you gain 2 points of inspiration. I think this has
Yeah.
got to be Gordon
I think it has
Lightfoot.
to go to Gord.
That gives
Oh,
Gord.
we don't know what the fuck this is going to take
6
out of your
luck.
Gord, but
You scored all the lucks.
he's used some though, right?
I
He-
don't. Gord, do you have any luck burned today?
I wrote this down in my notes. I don't think he did. Or no, sorry. Brawly didn't use her Indomitable because we had advantage. That was like one of the main things I wrote down. I don't think Gord's used a luck today.
All my luck boxes aren't checked, so
Perfect.
I didn't use any when I was Jaggering you in the last game. I know that for sure. And I don't think you did use any because I don't think there was any roles that you were really super concerned about in like the build up to the game. And then last game, I know I didn't use any. So as far as I understand, you should have 3 there. And then in Azuth's Fate,
Is one.
you have 1 alternate reality.
And then this would give you
so I
two
want to.
more.
So the alternate reality is slightly different. You have to do it ahead of time. You
To let
basically
you choose which one.
you choose to give yourself advantage before you.
Cool.
So it's kind of the same thing, but it has to be a conscious choice ahead of it to choose to give yourself advantage on a roll, and you can
Cool.
choose which would obviously take the better one.
Gord, drink this honey-like draught. You will glow with the golden aura of a summer's sunrise and cast dim light in a 5-foot radius around you, and you will gain 2 points of inspiration. That is pretty glowy. That's a healthy glow if you want to talk like
That's
glow.
a bit more glowy.
But I assume if you stop moving, you'll turn to shadow again.
You would actually. The moats have a glow, which is where they come from, kind of like giving you a physical element to it.
I'm writing it down. Ambrosia Nectar.
So, Gord, you taste the ambrosia nectar, and it is a sweeter drink than you've ever consumed. It's a little syrupy, which is a little odd, but it is. It's not so sweet that it's sickly, but it is definitely sweet. And whether that is to your taste or not, I think innately it is good, but maybe you don't love it, but maybe you do. It's up to you.
Our last two boons, gifts, are from Uth, are the Ambrosia Stone, which is a 1 spell slot, raise dead, no material component. And it's going to be in my bag of holding. Or maybe just in someone's pocket. Maybe
You don't want to do bag of holding because then it's an action.
An action to summon it.
Who should have it? Want to use fast
Which
folk.
one's this again?
Ambrosia Stone is a raise dead.
I thought Allie had it for some reason.
Let's give it to Al. That's cool with me. I would say Allie, you, or Hondo. I mean
Allie's the hardest to physically take out, so
give it to Al. Done.
Sure, I
Allie?
can take it.
Allie, just show us where you're putting it, just in case, so no one has to, if you're unconscious or.
Yeah. Okay. So, my champions, how big is it? It's like that.
Yeah. What do you think?
It's like that big. So my buckle,
Yep.
So my Champions Guild buckle, there's like a little button inside the C. You push it and it opens up.
That's so nice.
I think I had like some goat rations in it, so I just kind of like
so perfect.
Shake it out, and then I forgot they were in there, and then put the stone
in Brawley's belt. Okay, last one is again situational ambrosia plum, and this would you consume it and you are cured of any conditions, diseases, or poisons. As well, for the next 24 hours, you regain max HP when you're healed by a magical source. By a magical source.
So it's an action to consume. So in theory, could be done in combat if you needed to. But you could be healing before you need to cure that poison. So that's a choice for you guys.
That might have to be a choice for before we go in.
Yeah, maybe we hold it a bit more until we're closer.
Something else to consider: we're all immune to poison right now, but
I'm thinking could be any crazy thing. We've seen where people are turning to stone. We've seen where it could be all sorts of crazy diseases. So maybe just before one of us could consume this.
Well, but correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't you have to eat it and then it cures something. It's not like.
Yeah.
So you can't take it right before because that won't help.
Sorry.
You would still get the max healing for 24 hours or whatever it is. So that, that is a pretty good boon. But it's a great boon. But yeah, you would lose the chance to purge a poison or disease. But if someone loses their protection, their divine protection, getting max healing could be key. And maybe the poison doesn't matter, but it's a choice you guys are going to have to make.
That could potentially be a Gordoin too, because if anything happens, he has to stay up.
And I want to know who has what. So, if the other two have been used now, Allie has the stone. Who's going to have the plum, whether you use it or not?
Maybe Gord. He's got the healing stuff. He can teleport around with Misty Step and Far Step.
I think, at least for now. Yeah, let's have me onto it.
Gord, can you carry this plum? Just don't eat it yet.
Will do.
Well, two more things, fam.
Okay.
We have 3 things, fam. We have a summoning of dragon. We can summon a dragon at some point. Just keep it in mind. We have a genie that Hondo will hopefully summon before the next 100 episodes. And can we bring Neovir here at some point?
Yeah, I don't think we can do it before we absolutely need her, but they already tell us that we smell like fucking the heavens. I can't imagine bringing, a literal angel.
Son of a god.
Last thing. I'm gonna
They
do this
fail.
1,000 times. Potion check.
And I have to check the fucking list. Hondo has. I can run through this quick.
Hondo has a shit ton, doesn't he?
You used one in the last game, or two.
I have one. I have one potion of healing.
Just a regular?
I got a few.
Just one regular potion of healing. That's all I have. I took too many in our last fight.
Hondo, do you remember what kind of potion you used in the last game?
I marked
Got
it
it.
on the. I did it here. So
You
I
like
still
removed
have.
it from your list? Okay.
God, I'm so sorry, listener, for you listening to this, but it's just so important. It's been so many episodes. Hit me,
I
Hondo.
have one potion of healing. I have 2 superior potions of healing.
Yep.
And I have.
One greater.
I think I'm just finding it.
They're never in a fun order. Like it's always.
I thought I
annoying.
had.
Maybe you
more.
took the greater.
You had 2 superiors, 1 greater, and 1 regular just
must-
before we went to hell. So I think you took the greater.
I still
Yeah, so
see
one greater, 1 healing, and 2 superior. Yeah, that's all.
I see the greater in your inventory.
No, you took a superior last time. You had a shit ton of
Healing?
superiors for some reason. At some
I don't-
point, you took a superior.
I
Maybe
don't
not
think
last
he
time.
had
I have
3
2 superior.
Yeah. But you think he used the greater?
I have no idea.
I can't remember, but I know I marked whatever I took. I marked off. Like I did.
Okay,
Okay.
so then,
Then I
So maybe
I
you
did
had
on-
2 greater.
yeah, I think I probably left it on mine. So Hondo, 2 superior, 1 greater, 1 regular. Mary, 1 potion of healing. And then I think that's it.
Does Allie have any?
Brawley has a
Uh,
draught of mind shielding. Sorry, you can read what you got, Brawley.
It looks like I have, unless I didn't remove it, but it says 1 superior and 1 regular.
That sounds
Yeah,
about right because we
that's what
made
I
sure
got.
we made sure you had a bunch ahead of time.
Yeah.
And you have the cure wounds gem.
Yes.
Oh, that's
don't
right. I have a
see
cure
the
wounds in mine too.
superior. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
I really
Allie's
wish you
got
grouped
one of
potions
them.
together on D&D Beyond.
Yeah, you got to put them in like the same kit. Like put them in your backpack or put them in like another thing. Like get a
Because otherwise it
chest.
groups them by like rarity, which is annoying.
I know.
Mary has a dragon scale to summon a dragon as well, and a dispelling stone.
So wait, Gordon and Val, do you guys not have any potions?
I have 3 watchful rests and 1 greater potion. Oh, and I have Neovir's flower. Who knew? The flower, Neovir's feather.
So you have 1 greater healing.
Just 1 little greater.
And Gord, let me check your inventory. I don't think you
Have
actually
a loot? Is that helpful?
You have 1 regular healing potion.
1 regular potion and
Do we
the
want him-
plum of.
And then he has
Where
like
do
the
you find
staff.
That in your backpack?
Yeah, in
It
your
might be-
equipment. In your
It might be
equipment,
either in backpack
Oh,
or equipment.
Yeah, I have a potion of healing.
you have 1 potion of healing. So yeah, the annoying thing is potion of healing counts as like a normal item, not like a magical item. So it like doesn't get the color. So like the regular potions are sometimes missed very easily.
Yeah, they're down
It's-
in there with like, you have 50 feet of rope
Yeah,
and a flask.
it's a little annoying, that's for sure.
We also have 3 watchful rests. Not that matters, but we're talking about potions.
And
Hey, gang.
scrolls, you
Field
have
of the
that up
Dead.
there.
Field
Do
of
we
the
need
Dead,
to-
find base.
Do we want
Sorry,
to? Is there any potions that need to be moved around, or are we cool with the layout of the way things are now?
I have 3 watchful rests. Hondo has 1 catnap potion that potentially we could use if Gord
Mhm.
needs to go down for a nap to get his spell slots back before this last fight. That's where he can like get a short in 10 minutes, I think. But that's pretty much it. Then we're
Okay.
pretty much out of everything.
But I'm saying, is there, with the potions that everyone has?
Oh, I
does
see.
anyone think they really need one? Who they're like? Is anyone concerned?
No, because Gord and I can heal without potions.
Okay.
We're the only ones with like limited ones.
I have a gem with a 3rd level cure wounds in it, right? You wrote that down, Scott?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
What was
And then
your
Allie has a 2nd.
what was your
Which-
potion stitch, Mary?
I have 1 regular.
That's it. Okay, cool.
And then
We're
you
all
have
sorted.
extra cure wounds in your sword.
I
too, right?
have a revivify, and then just cure wounds to fill out the rest of it.
Fuck.
Let's go meet the devil. Knock,
Okay.
knock, knock. Who's there? It's the wild cards.
Do I have
can't
to
wait
activate?
take a
Can't wait to
devil's
what?
face.
Take it.
I look
Okay.
forward to it too.
I can't wait for Hondo first move, get on the devil's back. It's every game, I'm going to get on that creature's back.
I look forward to it.
Or
Nice.
make friends with him.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even know
Yeah.
what form he'll be in. They'll be in. Who knows
That's
what
true.
they will look like. You have the ambrosia dust, Mary, and it's now on you. Brawley and I painstakingly finger painted it on you. Actually, it's like sunscreen. I'm sure you've had the joy of putting sunscreen on a child before. We all have little children. That's, I imagine, what it's like trying to put it on you.
Squirming.
I don't
constantly.
want to. I don't like it.
Stop. It's going to get in
Feels
your eyes.
weird.
It's going to get in your eyes.
No more.
I don't know if activating that, Leah, if that'll add to your resistances or not, but you can
No, it didn't.
customize. Well, then
I'll
you can
just-
customize and add them.
Okay.
If you go into your defenses and then there's a customize option, you can choose to add a resistance. So it's
Okay. Advantage on Constitution and Charisma saving throws. Okay.
yeah. That I think you need to.
Do it manually. I have to remember.
Yeah. Actually, no, you could. Yeah, you can only give yourself proficiency. You can't give yourself advantage on here. So you have to just write that somewhere.
Mhm.
Okay. An hour passes as you guys slowly heal your wounds and go over your various accumulated treasures and gifts and boons from your year of adventuring and your many strange adventures before you feel the time has come to kind of like get up and get going. You feel rested, you feel prepared, attunements have shifted. All these final kind of preparations are taking hold, and there is this element of like a ticking clock that all of you have been not aware of until this moment, and you all kind of get this sensation of like it's like a deja vu that you can't break, and you're starting to realize that the timelines are starting to converge in their final moments. I don't think it's fair to say you know exactly how long until it fully meets up, but it's close. In this instance, things are shifting, and that means the gate to be open on the other side. At some point a big ass city's going to come crashing down onto this side, though where it is in relation to you, you're not sure. And that time is going to be ticking before your enemies, big and large, start looking as to where the heroes of Vesaria have gone. You begin to creep back up out of the cave and continue, or do you have any last preparations?
My last thing is just a note. We have to time this right. The Mistra told us some of the bells, when the last bell tolls, or before the last bell tolls, that's when we gotta do what we gotta do. So the question is how early. Gotta get it pretty fucking close, because we know we're not going to be able to last minutes in there with him.
We have to do as much damage to him as we can.
Very quickly. We have to be pests. We need to annoy the fuck out of him and survive doing that. That's the only goal at the beginning.
I do best. Not survive. Just the annoy part.
Try the survive
Right.
part too.
Do we
Everyone must
agree
be-
that we leave anyone who's down, we leave behind?
I think we all agree that there's one person we would make that deal for.
Immediately shove Valentine out the hole.
I didn't say who it was. I didn't say who it was.
This is hell. There is no time for sorrow.
I think there's an infinite amount of time for sorrow in hell. Honestly, if we're time all the places for sorrow, this is probably it.
No, I don't know. I mean, the abyss was pretty sorrowful. Like, as much
I'll
as
take that.
hell is terrifying,
Okay.
pure sorrow, I think the abyss takes it. At least the fucking layer we were in.
Yeah, 100%.
In the infamous words of Hondo, what was it? First one to die first loses. All right, let's go.
It's true. Make that be your mantra.
Okay. As you guys begin to climb back up and out, I would like perception checks from everyone, please.
First D20,
Here we
right?
go.
Natural 20.
Nat 20, that's good.
30.
Oof.
13 for me.
Okay.
16.
Boy.
34 total.
Ooh. How'd you
Listener,
get better than me?
Hondo did say he would get real dice for campaign 2. A little spoiler. That is something he dropped this week.
You rolled
Wait
a
for
19,
that.
that's how you got better than me.
Okay. You guys begin to come back up this kind of slanted, like very flat, smooth rock. You kind of scrabble up and pull yourselves up to the edge. And there are two massive kind of like shelves of rock that give a little bit of an outcropping and cover up on the ground level. And you're a couple hundred feet back from the bridge. That's kind of directly where your eye line takes you first. And you see no sign of anything coming your way. You see no sign of any more hornets, hell wasps, at least coming your way. You see a couple that are still kind of hovering and buzzing around the now like sinking and falling nest that Valentine kind of broke the tethers of, and they're frantically working on that, focused over there, even an hour on. And your path to lie, what we'll call north of you here. As you look beyond the cave across this tumbled landscape of oddly shaped terrain. There's dry clay and rocks of reddish hue that stretch across the horizon, and rolling hills and jutting sections where fissures bend and break the brittle earth. What would be rock formations that you would see formed by erosion of water on a normal world is clearly done by the whipping wind and firestorms that spontaneously form with heat enough to shift stone. Along these badlands, beyond this kind of first drop down, are rows and rows of what would be tilled farmland in your world. But you see no sign of crop. There are creatures digging in the earth you assume to be fiendish by hand or simple tools, and surrounding them in these very orderly rows and plots of what you can consider farmland are a handful of what you can see is 3 at this stage. For those of you who roll very high, you can see there's another further on. Monstrous spider-shaped machines that with your very perceptive ears you can hear screeching and moving across the fields. These 8 metal long legs and gears at each joint, metal wires that stretch like a massive pulley system to draw each forward in massive slow steps. To the closest one, which you gauge to be quite a far distance away, but to Mary, Valentine, Hondo, rolled very high, you can see there's like a cockpit at the top where the abdomen would be. You can't quite see inside of it, but it's encased. But you can imagine big enough to house a couple of creatures to operate this thing. But beneath, where the lower side of the abdomen would be, is a massive kind of fleshy sack of red that is lashed in by wire and cord. You see fire and smoke jut from various outputs of this rusted and kind of weathered, worn machine as it screeches with each movement. It seems to be going across the tilled land and coming to positions as you watch for a few minutes where you can see the creatures who are digging and scraping the earth by hand have marked with a fiery kind of flare. And the nearest one kind of goes to the nearest flare and with like the front two legs like digs down into the earth and is like tilling and bringing up the earth as you watch.
This is spawning grounds, right?
Yeah, but are they planting something or sowing something? Let's just try and keep moving. Or Gordon, Brawley, it looks like there's a cockpit there, so they're probably distracted, but let's not get too close to them.
I mean, an alternative. I guess there's not room for all of us in there.
You want us to commandeer one?
Let's just keep it on the table. Gotta make sure we're not spotted.
Listen, you can't go Hondo on me when we're down here. This is the end game.
I'm aware, but I'm saying maybe it's potentially a way to travel safely. Getting it could be a problem. We need to get better eyes on any of it. Either we stay way the fuck away from them, or we do something about it, but...
It's just, you say crazy shit like that out loud, that gives Hondo permission to say crazier shit than that. Everyone keep your head in the game, okay?
To Mary's point, she rolled a natural 20 on her perception. Looking at the paths that you have before you, there's not a single road to go here. If you consider yourself headed north here towards the tower, your most expedient route is to go direct through the spawning grounds. Crossing on open terrain here, there's very little cover to cross this mile or two of farmland, of spawning ground. So crossing openly is going to be a challenge. It's doable. There are places that you can run and sprint and using stealth and various abilities that you have. It's absolutely doable. You're skilled, but the risk for failure is incredibly high. If you're spotted out, you're spotted in the midst of fiends who are actively hunting. You can see taskmasters whipping those in the fields. It's a risk to travel openly, and there are no structures to like stop and hide within. You'd be literally using shadow and rock and the terrain to try and cross a no man's land of this terrain. To try and commandeer one of these harvesters is certainly possible. Getting up on the nearest one and taking it, that would absolutely put you into like being able to cross incognito, but that houses its own potential risks of how to pilot this thing if you're spotted, if you're called out. What do you do? And getting it in the first place. They seem to move slow, but you guys know, moving stealthily is incredibly slow. And this is like what I'm saying for open travel, for stealth, is you're going to have to be basically moving from cover to cover and waiting for the most optimal moment to do that. There are 5 of you. It's going to take time. You can, the final thing I'll say is you can go wide and try and cross into kind of open badlands where there's more cover, but it's a big arc. And you're not sure on which arc you should go to, which would be closest to the coil.
Are there like groups of, like farm workers, for lack of a better term, throughout the entire thing? Like, how many are they? Patchy? Is there like someone in every row?
It's very patchy, but it's very orderly, as is the hells. You can see there are groups in each like section of field that are actively like checking the rows, walking up and down and back and forth the rows of each region, zone, whatever you want to consider, like each field. And there are, from what you can see with the natural 20, as can Valentine and Honda with high perceptions, you can see 4 harvesters amongst the fields that are working their way kind of north to south, so closer to you, and then returning back and forth, kind of going back and forth that way. There's sections where, yeah, there's less there, but gauging like how many fiends you see in the fields, there are hundreds across this expanse of several miles, or mile or two. But they are ranging from like moving in carts or checking the earth, or, you know, you're not sure exactly what they're all doing, but there's, you know, anywhere from 100 plus active creatures in the area. What I will say is the creatures who are working the land, they seem very lowly. You've seen these creatures before. They are runts. They are not imps, but they are like, they're the lowest on the totem pole in terms of devil hierarchy.
Do they look humanoid? My idea being, could we, if attention was brought our way, could we pretend to be like digging the earth? Like, are they in rags? What's that vibe like?
No, they look more like
Sluggy?
There's a variation, but they're called lemures. They're like masses of flesh in vague humanoid form. Some are these kind of larger, more rotund, like classic glutton forms. Some are a little bit more feral looking and more skinny, but they still have a clear devilish or fiendish air to them. They don't look human or humanoid. They look fiendish.
If I pull out my spyglass, could I get a better look of the kinds of creatures and size and scariness level looking of the ones in the harvesters and then the ones in charge?
Yeah, you can
like
make an additional
guys...
perception at advantage to try and hone in on these two ideas.
18.
As you start to look at the nearest harvester, it's still a ways away, so trying to like steady your hand, but eventually you manage to. The cockpit on the top of these harvesters has it's like a metal cockpit with a very like wind blown glass or whatever is protecting like what would be the like windshield and the windows on the sides. It's difficult to see in, but you can see about like 3 or 4 shapes kind of moving about inside loosely, but you can't identify anything more at this distance. With an 18, though, you can identify way further on, like halfway across the field, but you can see them, and you've seen them before, and with the spyglass it helps. You can see there are 2 at this point. Aaron, yes, these feminine devil kind of generals or leaders of armies. They're armored in like black infernal armor, similar to what Egoth was wearing. They are actively like disciplining and whipping some failures of the field. You don't see, like, those are the first 2 that you see. You don't see any other immediate like pit fiends or anything higher. You do see walking through the field a bone devil who you've encountered before. Very large, long, spined tail of bone, a massive kind of like extended mouth and face, and these wings that are tucked in that are bony. That seems to be also of a higher station. And that's what you see at this stage.
There's an Aaron, Aaron, yes. Did I say it?
Mm-hmm.
They could easily be problems.
I can make, by upcast invisibility, I can make 2 people invisible. Hondo's so stealthy. Gord can be invisible if he's in shadows for long enough.
Or can be
Is there
invisible at
shadow
will.
around here? Oh,
I
that's
will.
right.
Look at him now,
So-
he's invisible. Can't even see him.
So there's one.
I mean, I can upcast it again, I think, and make all of us invisible, but that just eats into my spells.
Yeah. You have 4th or 5th, I think, to hit everybody.
It lasts an hour, right?
Lasts an hour.
It's not going to stop. It wouldn't stop everything.
No.
We know that.
But it would give you advantage on all these stealth checks to get across. If you
Do we
wanted to
know
just book it.
anything about the Aaron? Yes. In terms of, have we come across that? I don't remember.
I don't think
We've come across them. I just don't know if we've come across the thought of fooling them with illusion or anything like that.
I will leave this to Val and Gord to make Arcana checks to see if in your various
That's fine.
experiences with Aaron Yeses, or Aaron Yees is how some of them are pronounced. I hate it. Bone Devils are a little lower on the totem pole, but an Aaron Yes is a powerful, high-ranking kind of fiend. They're a greater devil, and are often like considered like hellish Valkyries. They do possess true sight, so that would nullify your plan here. However, basically everything on the field that you're seeing other than them would be fooled by this. You know a pit fiend is going to see through it. You know the Aaron Yes is going to see through it, and you know there are other devils that kind of live in the hierarchy between Pit Fiend and Aaron Yes and above Pit Fiend. You're not sure if they'll be here, but it's not a foolproof plan, but it does get you through a good chunk of stuff.
Would we know, if you grant me this nat 20, ask, if you have true sight and see through it, do you recognize that person, like, is there an aura of, wait a second, that person's trying to be invisible and going by? Or does everyone just show up as normal?
You would essentially see, the way I understand it would be, I see you clearly, and I can see that you are shrouded.
Actively trying to conceal yourself? That makes sense. That totally makes sense.
I think it would be like there's some level of visual illusion there that you're seeing through.
Yeah.
That they can identify immediately.
Well, there's only 2 of them.
Well, we have to see right now.
We have to save time here. I don't think we can skirt this whole field.
No, I agree.
If Hondo and Gord just go, Hondo's stealthy enough as is, I don't think he needs to be invisible. Or he could cast invisibility on himself.
Do you have that, Kev?
I have
that's right.
invisibility list.
And then I could cast it on us 3. You, me, Brawley. That'd be a level 4. And we could get as far as we want and see what happens.
If we're going to do that, we still have to be careful. We can't just stride out.
Totally. Invisible doesn't mean silent. Best bets would be trying to still hide behind cover, even if these things have true sight. If we were behind a rock or something, it's not like they can... I hope they can't see through an X-ray.
And we'll keep an eye out and see if any other options present themselves along the way.
Yeah, worst case scenario, just like you said, we jump in one of these spider monster machines and just pilot it across the field to the big spike.
No, as long as we don't draw any attention to ourselves in whatever confrontation is required to complete that mission.
Here goes the 4th level spell.
Okay.
Touch Brawley's shoulder, touch Mary's shoulder. Think about it. Cast invisibility on us 3.
And then I'll cast 2.
Okay.
Goodbye, spell slots. We hardly knew you.
Gord can innately do his without need, but that does mean 3 of you are concentrating on spells. Keep that in mind. And an added element to this, you're all going to be making stealth checks here as you go forward. You can no longer see one another, so you don't know the path each of you is taking. each of you will individually be needed to make your own survival check as well, instead of a group check. So there are, the way we're going to do this is I'm going to break the field into basically 4 chunks. From where you start at the edge of the field to the other side. There are going to be 4 escalating difficulties as things get harder as you go across. There are going to certainly be things I'm going to throw in the way to give you opportunity to either shift plans or just cause hiccups just because it's fun. And now the survival check means where you are in relation to each other is going to be interesting.
Cool.
So,
Fun.
as you all begin to make your way, we'll start with a stealth check. Stealth checks across the board, all at advantage. We'll start there.
Whew. Okay. 25 for Val.
Yeah, solid.
25 for me too.
Nice.
32.
Oof.
28.
Yes.
I rolled an 11 plus 17, 28.
Yeah, no worries there whatsoever. You all begin to, just marking your successes, you very easily begin to cross, especially this first leg. It is the furthest from that kind of larger section off to the distance, where you can see there's a mass of smoke around this kind of red fleshy mountain, and you still are way too far away to get any really good detail on that, but it seems the harvesters and the bulk of the operation is like further away. This is the furthest reaches that you're kind of first crossing into, and there are lowly devils digging and scrounging in the earth, and you can see left and right all around you. You can see maybe 2 or 3 of those flares that are kind of burning in spots they have marked. But the harvesters have yet to come this way. There's no Aaron Yes or Bone Devil in sight. But you cross at a good distance a number of these kind of lower devils, and using cover and using how sparse and how spread out these other creatures are, you can very easily kind of make your way across to various pieces of cover and movement, and over the next 15 minutes are comfortably like in the heat, in the heart of the field, where you all kind of come to stop up and slow yourselves and are now holding. You can see is a harvester is near. How near? I would like a survival check from each of you.
Cool. Oh God.
6.
9.
Okay.
26.
Oh my God.
9 as well. 6 and 3.
Oh my god. And I rolled an
Jeez.
8.
Okay.
Oh my God, gang.
This is bad.
Raleigh, safe, deep in the field. The rest of us idiots.
Yeah, Brawley, I would say you hung back ever slightly, like this stealth, and it is a weird sensation of feeling slightly more alone doing this when you can't see your allies, and I think that would slow you down ever so slightly compared to the rest, and so you actually are the furthest back, but you're the most comfortably protected, where the rest of you, almost as you like, it's almost like coming over a rise, and this thing is right there. You don't have eyes on each other, obviously, and I would say the 4 of you who failed there, you find yourselves kind of caught out with no immediate cover. Now you're invisible, but there's a harvester that is like about to move over top of you and just what did the 4 of you do?
Can I, over the earring, say they're attracted to flares? Hondo, if you can steal a flare from one of those dumb devils, we could try and distract it.
We might not need it.
Wow, it's about Devin.
What if I just kill it and take the flare?
Nope, because then if you attack...
If you kill, your invisibility breaks. What are you thinking,
Okay,
Mary?
I'll steal it.
No, wait, Mary, what were you going to say?
What do these flares look like, Kyle? Do they literally just look like a flare? Do they look like a flame?
They give out like a magical induced kind of like burst of kind of green flame.
Green flame, fuck. Because they how similar does that look to a fire flask? Because I have one of those.
A fire flask is like a explosive.
Oh, I thought it was like a
no, it's not like a pop
flamethrower.
No, it's like a
Molotov.
Molotov cocktail.
Oh,
never
basically.
mind.
I have a question.
Mhm.
I have a screaming bullet.
Mhm.
Would I be able to throw that? And
You have a sling that you could use to shoot.
would I
it.
be able to throw it without dropping
Breaking.
my invisibility and shooting it so that it screams further away? Or no?
I think no matter which way you do it, I think that would be like making an attack, whether you throw it or shoot it. It would break your invisibility. However, that is a solid way to draw focus to another space. That would be like that's a screaming sound literally in another spot. That's going to pull focus, but it will break your invisibility to do so.
Maybe it's a great idea. Maybe it's worth considering later if we get more desperate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The four of you who failed the survival, you have to choose now, like, where are you going? You have to scatter and basically move, run further, or run off to a side, or retreat.
I'm going to go further.
Okay.
Famous last words.
Yeah, if there's no way to potentially like skirt around it or like up over it.
You could climb on it. You could there are 8 legs, but they're not all 8 moving at once. There's a point where 4 are down. You could hold onto and clamber up, and they are kind of, like they're like a TV tower has like like little rungs and 3 main poles. It's kind of built like that, where it's an easy handhold, easy foothold. In theory, you could ride.
Scale it.
You could scale it with ease. Hondo could scale it with ease. Brawley, ease. Valentine, we'll see. But
What is it going in the opposite direction we're trying to go, or
it's going
same direction?
towards behind you. It's headed to one of the flares that you passed.
He did, Brock. And I'm thinking exactly what you're thinking. Wild Wild West, Jim West, Desperado. That's right.
Oh my God! You knew what I was going to say.
This is directly pulled from Wild West. Yes, that's
Yes.
Everyone start watching it. Fire it up. Watch it alongside the
Let's
stream.
get jiggy with it.
I'm sure it ages very well.
Jim West, Desperado. Want none of this? You don't got nada.
Hondo, Mary, Gord, are you guys running forward, trying to hide to the side, retreat, or climbing?
I was gonna climb. It was my first
Climb
thought.
it.
Okay, the 3 of you
Oh, God.
begin to
I
grab
nightmare
on.
creatures.
With the goal of trying to see what the fuck is driving these things was my thought. While it's here, fuck it, I'm gonna see what kind of thing is driving these things to see.
Okay, all 3 of you make athletics checks for me.
$17.
Yeah, easy enough. Gord grabs on and begins just to kind of. Do you want to climb up, or do you just want to like hold on to one of the legs, and just like travel with it, or do you want to like try and get to the top?
Hold on and travel with.
Okay, Hondo.
9 roll and 9, 18.
Yeah, easy enough. Do you want to try and just do the same? Do you want to hold, or do you want to try and scale?
Scale.
Scale. Mary, you're going to try and scale as well.
Yeah.
What was your athletics? I'm sure
It was
it's
a
fine.
16, which
Yeah.
isn't a great roll for me,
But it's honestly it's quite a low DC here. It was more the risk of the failure of a 1 or a 2 that possibly could throw you and you get stepped on. Would have been fun. But Gord, you just cling to it. Valentine, you begin just sprinting forward, and your stealth here for the next round, I'm going to call it disadvantage just when I call for the kind of next call, you
Which
will
would be
at
straight?
disadvantage, which would be a straight roll.
Cool.
But it'll cancel out your advantage just as you are just kind of rushing.
Hightailing it.
Yeah, trying to find where to go next. For the success, I would give Brawley advantage, but she has advantage. So unfortunately, I'm just going to cancel out there. But 3 of you are now on top of a harvester, so things are shifting already.
God.
Mary and Hondo, without knowing what the other is doing, you both very easily scale to the top of this thing. Where the legs come to meet the body, it's like an exterior platform that is just open air that's 5 feet wide. And then there's like the middle chunk that is maybe about 15, 20 feet kind of in circumference. As you climb to the top, steam and fire is kind of bursting out of like exhaust vents all around the sides, and you're both very adept at moving and shifting out of the way of them. It's not so much a risk, but you know that this thing is very hot, and as you're going to get to the top, the back side of the helm burns. Like you can feel it before you touch it. Something like the engine, whatever is powering this thing, is incredibly hot. Both of you go ahead and make investigation or perception checks, your choice. And Gord, I would like you to make an Arcana check or Nature check, your choice. As you cling to the side on the bottom, and where Mary and Hondo immediately went for the top, the flesh sack that kind of hangs in the belly of this thing, you're now getting a kind of really close view on as it's shifting you back and forth.
22.
As you're moving and shifting, you can see it's lashed beneath by like heavy, thick cord or wire. And it is kind of undulating and shifting and seems to pulsate. And you can also identify within it are a number of creatures. These small devil fetuses are maybe about a dozen of them are kind of floating in this reddish, fleshy, amniotic sac that is pulsating and shifting. With a 22, you can gauge that this thing is not just it's not inanimate. It has some level of sentience. Like it's a creature of some kind. You can gauge like there is though it's being held here, it almost acts and reacts like an ooze would. Yes. That's what you gather. Mary and Hondo, perception, investigation, what'd you get?
I got a 12 plus 14, 26.
Yeah, solid.
29 investigation.
Basically, on either side, kind of looking in, there's a cockpit window that you can kind of see into, and there's a door on Hondo's side that has a little like porthole to look into. Hondo, as you kind of pop in the porthole, Mary, as you kind of reach around to see through the cockpit. Hondo, you can see inside what looks kind of like a steam engine, like furnace, like shoveling coal into like a furnace kind of situation, though rather than fire and heat, it's just like an energy kind of core that does have a fiery kind of look to it. You see two disheveled looking, two of those like kind of feral devilish figures, really skinny, erratic, scaly, kind of almost dragon-like faces, and they are kind of just holding on and shifting. You can see they've got tools on belts all around on their waists, and like just like a dirtied like leather apron kind of front goggles over their eyes. They're covered in kind of soot and dirt, and you can identify that there's two of them here near this kind of what you can imagine to be the engine or furnace that is running this thing, and a smattering of tools that is around them. In the cockpit area, which is just a seat up, is a large seat and a number of levers and pulleys and kind of knobs and buttons that a slightly larger devil, this kind of fleshier, thicker devil, but is less of the kind of flesh mound and more of a defined creature, is sitting at the cockpit, pushing and pulling with these massive levers that seems to be guiding and steering this thing. So there are 3 creatures inside, but room enough to fit all 5 should you decide to try and do so. Could be tight, but
I don't know if it's our option right now. I just wanted to see what we were dealing with.
So what's the plan?
Is it loud?
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty screechy, and like each blast of flame is kind of accompanied by like a and there's some like clicking and whirring of like the grinding of gears that are well weather worn, and shifting of like pulleys and things. Being close to it is pretty loud.
Okay, good. But that means that in theory the things inside won't hear me if I quietly say something over the earring.
Likely. I'm still going to ask
Okay.
for a roll if you're speaking so close.
Are there any other, if I take a look from like this slightly elevated view, can I make a perception check to see if there's any other creatures near us?
Yeah, good.
23.
Right now it's leading you back to where you guys kind of came from. So it's right now there's nothing immediately, but it's going to put you back into kind of terrain with more of the lower level devils.
Okay. I'll kind of climb back down at least halfway before I kind of say on the earring open, because I don't know where everyone is. I don't know that Hondo's looking in the other side. Just say I gotta look in there. It could be a potential backup plan, but I don't know if that's the goal right now. Could also make it go boom if we need a distraction. But for now, I think we need to keep moving.
I'm running.
No, and I'll disembark.
Okay, you hop down. Hondo, do you stay on top? Do you disembark? Do you try and do anything else?
It is going
I'll
the
stay on
opposite
top.
direction. It's going
It
the
is.
opposite direction we need to go.
I
You
think-
hop down?
All right, I'll disembark.
Okay. And Gord is not back yet. So I imagine he will do the same, but we'll see. I would say, obviously, the 3 of you would be relatively close as we go to roll this next one. Valentine is going to be far ahead, and Allie's going to be slightly behind. Allie, you can imagine some of your friends were on near this thing, so you have an idea of where they were as the communication has gone out. But I'm going to ask for another round of stealth and survival from everybody. Everyone has advantage on stealth with the exception of Scott, and survival is a straight.
First one
Thank
was
God.
a natural one.
22.
Okay. Stealth, I
It's real.
assume.
Yeah, it was real close to being a 12.
Well, mine was almost a natural one, but instead
that's
it
terrifying.
was a 24.
I was.
You'll be fine. I guarantee you.
I rolled a 2, but
But you
But you have
roll lower
advantage.
than you can't roll lower than a 10.
yeah. I'll roll again. I have an advantage to it. Yeah.
You have advantage, you're invisible.
14.
So, yeah. Like 29, 37,000.
30.
Hondo's okay. Allie and Gord, I need you to make a stealth check with advantage for me.
19 for me.
Nice.
Say stealth.
Yes, please.
Yeah, baby, with advantage.
As we continue forward.
First roll 20. Second roll 19.
Oh, that's very close. But the 20 will do easily as you guys begin to continue forward. And I would like survival all around again, please.
That's a 19.
Okay, great.
And that one.
Oh, that's not great. That's,
Oh, come on.
Hey,
very bad.
I rolled an 18.
I rolled a
That's good.
3 and a 6, 9.
Man, that's the exact same roll you did before.
Very bad. Alana?
12 for me.
Okay.
Oh, that's a
actually-
bad roll for
That's
you.
not great for Allie.
Yeah, I got like 26 last
A little
time.
low for Al. Okay, so Mary and Gord, the two of you can you can feel the presence of one another and very quickly see that everyone's leaving footprints here. It's very sandy and dirt, so like you can see the footprints immediately before it's windswept away. So the two of you actually end up being basically side by side, Mary and Gord, as you guys begin to kind of go forward, taking cover. Over the next leg of this journey, you start to get into a far more active region. And as Val is the furthest ahead, Hondo, you just move naturally faster. Now with your boon as well, you're moving pretty quick. And though you're moving very stealthily, you're not so much thinking about where you're going and what best to hide. You're just used to you're invisible. You can do anything. And that cockiness puts you into a bit of a precarious position. As the two of you run forward, trying to keep in cover, and you both seem to move from a position of cover to another position. You're kind of headed in the same direction and collide into one another invisibly. Of all the chances, you just manage to clip one another. Valentine, you kind of go sprawling into the dirt a little, and the three of you back, Mary, Gordon, Allie, you see this puff of dirt and dust. And that doesn't seem to be what gets anybody's attention. A sudden spin of wind up and fire here is not so crazy. But as Val, you pull yourself up, and Hondo, you kind of kick off to the side. What draws your attention is the Aaron Yes, who drops a creature from the sky directly between where the two of you would be sitting. One of these fleshy individuals, and actively is like diving down to continue a punishment. She's screaming in infernal, and you can now see all eyes begin to shift towards this punishment that is actively happening. Who knows what this creature has done to deserve this ire and possible death that is coming its way. But an Aaron Yes is actively with whip, and where it strikes into its flesh, you see blood spill out. It howls in pain, and she is coming down and lands hard with a face directly at this creature. The two of you are uncomfortably close to this situation. What do you do?
Say nothing. Don't want to risk any sound. I think I would just be probably either frozen or just trying to back away from it, knowing that she can see in our eye line. If she sees towards us, she could see us. I'm literally just going to try and be as low as possible to the ground and just hide.
I would like a stealth check at disadvantage for you, so straight roll, and same for Hondo.
Okay. 26.
Did you say disadvantage?
Disadvantage,
just straight.
It's a straight roll because you have advantage.
17.
Nice. Plus 1,000.
You're still good. 26. You begin to kind of back up and push yourself closer and closer, or further and further away, I should say, but closer to try and there's a wagon that you're just like, I'm going to scoot under this wagon nearby. And you get low under it. And as you look out, you can see there are more of these devils that are working the fields that have stopped working, and everyone has stopped, eyes forward to watch this moment. As you hear whip cracks, and Hondo, you are still on your feet, so you race to the other side and take cover behind literally just like a mound of rock and outcropping. Another Aaron Yes is fast approaching. You see wings splayed like diving down, and there is one bone devil that is kind of with its tail is like this kind of spine like tail is poking and jabbing. What seems like this crew is being reprimanded. There are 3 of these devils all being reprimanded at once, and it pokes and prods them forward, and there's like an open like interrogation between the 2 Araneses and the bone devil and these 3 low devils. At one point, as you guys take cover and as the 3 of you begin to kind of catch up, and the Aranes who had initiated this wraps a rope or its whip around the throat of the devil it's been attacking, and with a drawn blade beheads the creature and kicks its head towards towards Valentine, who rolled the 1, just because it makes sense, and it rolls into the sand directly in front of the cart, and it looks directly into you as it's like leaks black ichor.
Jesus Christ. I try and avoid his eye contact.
The other Araneses who landed. At this stage, I need everyone to make another investigate or another stealth check. Straight rolls now.
Do you want Hondo and I too?
Yep. As now there are more Araneses who have been drawn here, who are now like scanning the crowds actively.
Okay, not 20.
Nice.
Oh shit. 30, 13 and 7.
I also got a 30.
Nice.
24.
Yes. Gordon Dunsworth, stealth.
Stealth, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, baby.
Oh god. 14.
It's all right. It's all right.
Okay.
Can I use luck?
10?
Totally your call.
21.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna mark it down. Gord's first luck. Gord used 1 luck.
I marked it. I clicked the box. So
Perf.
As the 3 of you kind of catch up to this moment where you saw what you assumed to be one of your allies have kind of disturbed the earth here, so you know at least one of Hondo or Valentine are in this array of shit happening. Gord just kind of trips up a little and just causes just enough of like a sound where everything else is dead silent beyond the like reprimanding up forward. One of the Aranes's eyes immediately like darts, and she kicks up into the air and begins like draws a longbow and pulls one of these terrible looking arrows with like an infernal that already is dripping in venom and poison, and she's actively scanning for presumably yourselves, but not sure what exactly, as you all begin to hole up. The punishment ceases after a few minutes. The question is, do any of you do anything, or do you hold?
I'm gonna hold. I'm underneath this cart, just kind of like trying to watch the punishment, watch them gather, and just see when they break up.
How far away is Gord from, like, how far away are we from each other that we can see?
The 3 of you who fell back, Mary, Gord, Allie, I put you guys roughly together. I think it would be easy enough with your rolls to have like positioned yourselves close to one another, and can feel or see that we're near one another. But from where this is happening is like 60 feet to like Hondo and Val.
Right, sorry. And the air and yes is looking over at where Gord was.
Just kind of flying over now, like not a direct beat. Didn't roll high enough to like get a direct line on Gord, given that he rolled, he used his luck. If he didn't, would be different. But she, like, an Aranes is actively now scanning the field. Something has kind of tripped her senses.
Okay. Would throwing something, like, I don't know if this is what I'm going to do at all at this moment, but would throwing the fire flask be an attack?
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, because you have to hit something hard enough for it to shatter and like be used.
Okay. It's just, I just have fire flask with no description. It must have just been like a manual item I put in.
What I will ask for is actually, Mary, your passive insight is high enough to get one element of the scene that may or may not matter ultimately, but as you're watching this play out, it's clear that this punishment, that everyone in the visible vicinity watching, and like the other harvesters have slowed, and the operators of like are hanging out and watching, and everyone in the fields has stopped working. It seems that is commonplace and perhaps expected to witness.
No one's shocked.
No one's shocked. No
Does
one's
anyone
even
look
like
scared?
honestly, no one's afraid. No one's shocked. This is business as usual. But it is like obligation to watch. As the one creature is destroyed, the other two are severely kind of whipped and reprimanded before kicked back to work. After about 5 minutes have passed, they immediately, as soon as they kind of wrap things up in the air, and yes, begins to fly back to in the direction that you're headed, the Bone Devil kind of continues off into the fields. Immediately, work begins happening everywhere. All the harvesters kick back up. Everyone digs back into the dirt like nothing happened.
And we didn't see what like triggered this.
No, it seemed to be like something happening ahead you weren't focused on. It was just like this Aranias was really pissed at this one guy and just slammed him down into the ground near where these two happened to be. But things seem to go back to normal. However, your position is under scrutiny by one of the Araniases. And what I'll say is, all of you, as this work begins to get back underway, looking forward to this next leg, there is less and less cover. It's becoming more like an open field. The closer and closer you get, there's less of the rock formations, there's less of any ruins. And there have been elements of old ruins that you've used thus far, and there's still maybe a handful. But the next leg is going to be basically very, very little cover. If there's anything that would alter your plan.
If we could even not necessarily take a harvester, but I'm trying to think of something that would draw attention, natural attention, if these, if everyone has to watch people get fucked up, devils get fucked up regularly, we can use those moments to run or to get a little bit further. I'm trying to think of ways that we could do that. Potentially, what if we I have acid, what if we slightly damaged a harvester so that a leg buckles or something happens to make it look like something fucked up or someone fucked up, or other things like that.
You could try and use your little fire starter thing, because it's not necessarily attack. Maybe that's Hondo, but you could try and do it on a bunch of flares that someone has. So it's they fucked up because all their flares went off in their bag.
That's a cool idea, because that wouldn't be an attack.
And Hondo has his glove, right? Isn't it a glove of fire starting? Or how did that work?
Just like a lighter.
I essentially made him a lighter because he kept trying to light things on fire in the same turn as doing something else. Oh, yeah. And so I let him do that.
So Hondo, if you could stealth towards one of these lowlifes, and if they had a bunch of flares, try and set them all off without them knowing. Maybe
and then
that's
book
enough.
Fall on the ground. I will crawl until they least expect it.
You will what until they least expect it? Crawl?
Crawl.
Oh, okay. But then you got to book it away from them because they're going to make an example out of them, and then we're going to use that distraction to try and get farther away.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's actually a really great plan. It's simple.
Easy enough. still going to go through the process of another stealth check.
Yep.
But I think with this plan, we'll lose the survival for this round, as you guys all begin to group up and like try and hone in on where best to use this moment. But the stealth DC rises significantly.
Do I roll?
Stealth checks all around.
I get advantage, right?
Everyone has
Or-
advantage, yeah.
But do we still have advantage?
You still have
Okay,
advantage.
great.
You still have advantage, just the DC rose significantly.
29.
That's a success.
I'm gonna use
27.
Peerless Skill. I'm gonna use Peerless Skill because he scared me. 27.
Gord and Allie. Stealth at advantage.
29.
17 for me.
Okay, 17. Hondo, it is easy enough for you to spot one of these. They seem to work in like teams of 3. These groups of devils, and two while two are digging, one holds like a satchel slung over, and it seems to carry like a bundle, almost like TNT, that you like pull a flare from, slam it into the ground, and activate it. So you can see a number of these, especially as you get, now that you're further in, there are more and more. For whatever reason, the concentration seems to grow the closer to the end here. So there are significantly, there are many options for you to choose from. Do you want to go for one of them who are like further off the beaten path, closer to the beaten path, so they would be seen faster? What do you think?
Let's go with on the beaten path.
Okay.
Maybe like potentially behind us, so that if we're like moving forward, like in a spot where if you hang back from everybody else, do it, and then we all keep going, so they're all going to be looking behind us.
I agree.
Hano, you fall back a ways. How far? Well, I guess you're not going to know how far from the rest of the team. What I'll say, I guess, is, are the rest of you going to wait for Hondo, or do you want to continue kind of making slow progress as you're stealthing while he splits off to do this, and then you'll obviously know when it happens?
I
Or do
think
you
we keep moving process because we know he can catch up with us really fast,
Okay.
and then that way we're all like not the maximum for amount away, but like far enough.
Okay, easy enough. Hondo, your stealth is legendary at this point. And you get up close to the backside of one of these small groups, and you can see that they are, as you're getting closer now, like actively looking, you can see the trench that has been kind of dug in the earth here, that they're actively sifting through. And it's kind of, as they're pulling the earth up, it's wet, which has been odd compared to the other earth that you've seen here. Everything has been dry and cracked and weathered, and as the two devils on the ground are like sifting, you can see it's coming up, and their hands are red with blood, with some, as they're digging into the earth, it's slick and red earth. Give me an Arcana check if you are proficient in Arcana. Otherwise, it's straight intelligence check.
I will check if I'm proficient in Arcana. No, I'm not proficient in Arcana.
Okay, so just straight intelligence.
Okay. Intelligence. Okay.
So just D20 plus whatever your intelligence modifier is.
So I rolled a 4.
Okay.
And my intelligence check is 2.
Okay. It just, you're focused more on the fun that you're about to have than on any kind of gleaning any new information. But they see, there are two of them digging, and the third, who's kind of standing back, almost like overseeing the satchel, hangs off to the side, and on the right is just kind of open, as you have a pretty clean access, and you are silent as the grave. What do you do?
I grab one. And actually, yeah,
So
okay, first
they're bundled kind of like in this, in like in a satchel that kind of goes over. All the caps kind of all in the same direction, and easily enough you can see there are 9 in this bundle.
Mhm.
So, and I would easily say, I'm going to ask for a sleight of hand check if you want to remove one. But sorry, do continue.
So I want to remove one, and I'm gonna keep it with me, and
Okay.
I want to light the remaining 8.
Okay. I would like a sleight of hand check for the removal.
Okay. Rolled a 20.
He rolled a 3.
Attaboy.
So easily it's removed from the back. It just kind of slips out, and once kind of slipped into your possession, we'll say it just kind of slips invisibly in with the rest of your attire. And then as you kind of come around the front side, it's not a group of wicks to kind of light. So it's going to take, I'd say it's going to take, we'll leave it to a roll. I think I want a percentile die check. So D100.
Okay.
Essentially, what percentage lights off your first attempt?
Okay, so
if you hit 75 or higher, they're all basically going to light. If basically just like, if 50 or lower, you're only going to get 50%. So consider it like that.
So I can roll 2d10s, you said, right?
2d10s, and then whatever the first one is, that's our big number, our 10 number. Second one is the second number.
Okay. Sorry, I've screwed this up. 1 minute.
Sorry, just roll 1d10 at a time.
Okay, so I've rolled a 10 and another 10.
A 10 and a 10 is...
At 100?
Wait, is that a 0 or 100?
That's always
You can't roll a 0, right? So a 10 and a 1 is a 1.
Those are 11.
11 straight, 11%.
Right? Because there should be on a 10.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
0. One of them lights on your first attempt. These guys are dumb as shit. I'm gonna leave it to a roll whether they notice the first one, but however, it's not gonna light the rest quick enough. So you're gonna want to either light another one before he notices, and we'll see based on this roll, which has a -3. If I can get 12 or higher, he'll see it. I do not. It just begins sparking, and literally dumb as bricks, just doesn't catch that it's on fire. The other guys are just trudging, digging into the fields. You get another free shot. Roll another percentile die.
All right.
Light this shit up.
First roll is a 4.
Okay.
And second roll is a 1.
So 41%. Okay, so on your second roll, you get another kind of like dash the lighter across, and you get now 50-60% of it is lit. So 4 or 5 all begin to flare all at once. Now obviously he catches on, as now all of this flame and sparks are kind of flying out, and you see him kind of reach back and kind of throw it down as this green flame begins to ignite, and all this smoke and soot is flying around. Easily enough, you're able to slip away. However, does it draw the ire of the Aranias?
Come on, they hate waste.
This is chaos in an orderly world.
Not down here.
Not down here. The Aranias who is patrolling behind, you watch immediately like turn on her heels and begins beelining. As you begin to sprint away, trying to catch up to your friends as everyone else has started moving forward, you see In the distance, almost like flying up over a hill, you see two pinpoints beginning to grow fast and are dive bombing here. Two more Aranesses flying over. Unfortunately, Alana's stealth was not high enough to beat their perception. And as you guys are all making your way forward, one of the Aranesses who is coming to investigate stops up in the air above the four of you as Hondo's running to catch up. What do you do?
Who's the four of us? Just a quick recap.
Everyone but Hondo. The four of you are still
Gotcha.
Valentine, Mary, Gord, Alana. You guys are moving forward as a group, slower, waiting for Hondo to kind of catch up as he causes this distraction. This distraction was going to be kind of the punch to get through the next zone. However, drawing them out but rolling up for stealth has stopped one in her tracks. You're not open, you're still able to find somewhere to hide, but she managed to get a glimpse, seeing through the illusion of invisibility, managed to see someone moving that shouldn't be here and is now kind of in the air shifting. You see the arrow and the longbow get drawn. What do you guys do?
So we could technically still hide, but clearly she saw something. She saw movement. How far are we away from the other side of this field?
Make a perception check.
Just do that real quick.
Yeah, we'll call this retroactive as you're just making it.
22.
Difficult to give you direct numbers, but you've got one more leg to get through before you would be at the end of what you could consider the field. You can see now that red fleshy mountain that also has towers and a structure built kind of partially around it, is at the end of what is this field, and you gauge another 10-15 minutes would get you safely across. And basically you can also see Malsheem growing closer and closer, the heat growing intense the closer you get.
So do we wait and try and ambush this person? Do we just make
it's very open though, right? That'd be the problem if she attacks us. She's gonna do it from a distance. She has a longbow, and those things fucking hurt. I remember one of them attacking us in our Mad Max episode, and it was bad.
Was one of these in the Redmayne arc?
No, that was a succubus.
That was a succubus. You're right.
Yeah, this one came out and tried to shoot us off when we stole the hell car.
Yeah.
And we're joyriding it. She came and almost fucking killed Gord, I think. Hit her really hard.
I can't do anything spelly or else everything drops for...
I know, I've been looking through my items. Hondo's back, he's same thing, he can't cast spells. And even stuff not that we'd use Fog Cloud, but that kind of stuff counts as a spell too, right, Kyle?
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's innate.
Still the action.
You could try and beat a forcer if she got close.
I don't have any left.
I'll give you mine.
Or did you give you gave me? Oh right, you did give me yours. That's right, because I used one and you're here, try it again. Okay, but I mean that's still pretty obvious. She'd be in a fucking bubble.
Also still
it would just allow us to keep going.
It would count as an attack.
You have to throw it to hit them to cause the thing. So your invisibility still breaks. But it's
you're pretty stealthy.
Something you can do.
Let me add that to my.
We could try and distract her with a Mira sprinting.
Oh no, but the problem is I'm going to need her later, and also it's super suspicious to have a celestial horse just suddenly in hell. That's suspicious as fuck. Let alone one that I've been actively riding in front of all sorts of other things.
Fair.
Hondo, I will also say, as the four of you are held up, as almost we'll say there's a section of ruin that you're all kind of tucked in. As she is creeping closer and closer, there's this very tense moment of Frodo and Merry and Pippin hiding beneath the roots with the ring wraith just creeping over. Feels very much like that, just waiting for the shoe to drop. Hondo, you are running towards this, and you can see an Aaron. Yes, you see one of them flies past you, and just your innate ability to kind of keep to the shadows and keep still. She gets past, but as you're like moving forward, you don't see your friends, but you do see one of these Aaron Yeses has like stopped over a ruin. I'll put you back still like 120 feet from this, but you see one of these figures is like investigating, is looking actively as well. So
Okay.
you are witnessing this as well. Two different parties at this point, so the choices are going to be independent, but at this point, who's doing what, if anything? Could be nothing. It's your choice. I just want to know.
I think we should all prepare to fight this person.
I say we're ready.
You say she's creeping closer? Is that like still flying above us but getting closer in vicinity, not necessarily like will be in melee?
Bow out, keeping about 40 to 60 feet in the air. We'll call it 40 feet in the air. She drops a little low, and is actively just like sweeping, like just looking back and forth. It was more like as you guys were kind of coming forward that she caught, as almost as she flew past, that something like just caught at the side of her eye, and like stopped her up. So now she's scanning the outer fields, and at this stage, as we get to this point of investigation, you can hear the whip cracks from behind. The punishment is underway, and the rest of the field grows still.
It's extra quiet. How close do they have to be for it to be to force? It's hard when she's floating too. And that's the other thing, sound still travels through beat of force. Like that doesn't stop that. So she could just start yelling and get the attraction of everybody else.
I have silence again. I could guess it again. It would just be upcast.
And it would be
It would break.
it would
the
drop
invisibility.
it would break everyone's invisibility.
Well, just us three.
Right, sorry, but yeah.
The main characters of the story.
It doesn't have a distance. It's up to 60 feet. Okay.
I'm gonna need another stealth check from the four, and it is going to be a straight roll, as she can see through your invisibility.
You
Yeah.
got it. That was almost a 2. 28.
Ooh, 25 for me.
Nice.
Okay.
I rolled actually well too.
29.
Yes,
Natural
scored.
20.
Natural 20.
I rolled a
Okay.
16 plus 12. What's that? 28?
28. Really high, folks.
You guys rolled incredibly high. She can see through your invisibility, but you just, whether it's luck, however we want to skin the moment here, her back turns to the side you're on, and she begins scanning the opposite side of the field, and begins to like creep further and further into the field that she's scanning. And Honda, you can see she's now begun to turn away and is literally like headed in the opposite direction, still actively searching.
So she's in their area, and like I'm still like 100 yards back.
You're 100 feet back, kind of consider like a main kind of central path between fields left and right, just for ease of understanding space. These guys have tucked off to the right. They were coming down the main drag. Was looking at them and is now shifted as they've evaded her, and is looking further and further into this field over here. With her back to you, in theory, you guys could all make your progress forward, or you could hold and wait and see what happens as like the punishment finishes, or as her investigation goes.
I say go, go, go.
I think
Go
we need
forward.
to move.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone begins to move forward. Hondo, you're able to throw me a survival check, actually.
Just H?
Just H, just to see if he can catch up to the group. The four of you are all together, so he has to make his own decisions.
So my survival is 6, so 13 total. 7, 6.
I would say you are not in line with the rest of the party. You would be just off. Consider yourselves like on opposite sides of the main road, headed in the same loose direction, but not together.
Mhm.
Last leg of the journey. I would like a new stealth check as you begin to move at advantage. For those of you invisible. In this final stretch, as you begin to head down, you get closer and closer to this kind of tower and this fleshy mountain.
Okay.
You see tendrils kind of reach off and like embed down into the ground like vines or like roots, more aptly, of this red flesh. You can see at a distance there's hundreds of little tethers, like massive licorice, kind of hangs off of it to various points. And one of the harvesters, as you get closer and closer, is actually two harvesters. One's kind of near where we're going to pick up in a second, and one is right at the base. And it looks minuscule in comparison to this massive mound. I will get everyone's stealth now. Call them out.
28.
Mm-hmm.
I originally rolled 13, so then I Peerless Skilled, which was an 11, so 24.
Okay.
Ooh, 27.
Jesus.
I rolled a 13 roll plus 17.
Okay.
Jesus
And
Christ.
Gord stealth.
14.
Okay.
Not great, that's okay.
You got it. You do have advantage if you didn't roll at advantage.
Kevin just rolled his head at me, not his eyes. He was so offended by that roll, he rolled his head.
You have advantage. Roll again. He was doing it. He was giving you advantage.
14.
Alrighty. Fate says it so. You guys begin this final leg of the journey, and you can see Malsheem is now evident. You're kind of coming down a slope, down to the base of where, at a distance, you can see the end of the spawning grounds leads to kind of barren, a slightly barren stretch, and then a cliff that drops off out of sight. Beyond it, Malsheem kind of sits and hangs in the middle, but closer still, you have this kind of curved wall around the back, like a tower that kind of is holding up the backside and giving some like texture and some platforms that kind of go up alongside this mountainous red fleshy structure, loosely in a mountain shape. All along that wall and the various kind of small towers and watchtowers and platforms, with your passive perceptions, you can see the shifting and moving of devil creatures, some lower, but with your high passives, pit fiends and other high-ranking devils. You can see a number of Aranyes perched up along high points like gargoyles, waiting and watching always. The harvester that was nearest the base begins to climb and scale the flesh itself, and you watch as creatures, the devils that you've seen along here, they, as it climbs over top, they reach into that fleshy sack and pull some of those small fetuses out and like connect them with like a tether, with a tube, with something to the mountain itself, and like sit it into the flesh of the mountain. You begin to continue your push across this open terrain, and there is no cover for you to hide. You're relying now solely on your invisible forms. As you make your last kind of dash, you do have the harvesters that you could use to take cover behind, but they would bring you closer to this mountainous thing. And down to your right, you now see a kind of valley and a crevasse that is like cracked and formed, where you can see a stretch of a lava flow has begun to kind of push its way up out of the earth and is funneling down towards the cliff towards Malsheem. It kind of drops down 10, 20 feet and would give some cover if you wanted to kind of down into the bank of this. That's a choice.
Go hug the lava river.
Hug the lava
I have
river.
learned, do not fuck with lava in D&D. Lava is not like... Lava is not something you just like dip your toes in D&D. Lava is like, do not fuck with it.
Lose a foot.
So the choices become go through open terrain in the middle with no cover, hug the lava river and risk that path, or go closer to the mountain and use the cover of the various structures and machines and kind of slipping in amongst the rabble to obscure your path.
Middle is the quickest.
I'm kind of leaning... I was thinking trying to use the machines for cover.
I was kind of leaning that way too. If I look up, do we see any Aaron yeses?
It's a good call.
Near us?
Make another perception check, but I would say Valentine and Gord and Hondo, you guys definitely spot some. You spot 3 at various points.
I didn't know. Great.
Kind of perched like gargoyles, like waiting, watching, looking.
On the weird fleshy mountain.
Yeah, there's like the mountain sits ahead, but there are towers along its side, and some built almost like scaffolding around to walk in certain areas. And there's a tower that's built on it. It's all very jumbled.
Do we still feel like, from that vantage point, they would have a better view from us just going straight across the field than if we tried to do the spiders, or like go underneath the machines?
You run the risk getting close of, if you're caught, not being able to get away without a fight.
Yeah.
In the middle, you have kind of a middle chance of both options.
Yeah.
It's kind of literally down the middle. To the river gives you a higher chance of stealth, but the risk is greatest if you fail, because lava on one side, devils on the other, double fucked. There's no good choice.
It's not a good choice.
What was the perception, Mary?
I didn't roll
said it was
very
bad.
well. It wasn't
you just said it was
awful. It was very medium.
You could get some different information.
16. No, 15.
15's enough to get that this creature is not hiding. And I think why you pick this up. You do spot one of the Aaron yeses, which was part of your initial question, but your other fellows have found the others as well, just by passively being perceptive. But you, especially in your training as a fighter, as a tactician, your eyes eventually draw you directly to what you believe to be a figure of highest rank or higher than even the Aaron Yes here. Not a pit fiend, but another well-adorned creature. They wear long kind of purple robes, and there's like kind of gold fringe and trim. They're dressed in expensive looking clothing, and you can see even at a distance metal like gold bangles and rings and a massive kind of array of necklaces and jewels that seem to fill that stick through multiple fleshy folds of neck and flesh, though very thin spindly arms of this otherwise very rotund, almost like pyramid-sized, like the way it rises up to a pointed head with barely any neck definition. It's just folds. These small green wings that kind of rise up over the shoulders of the classic kind of bat-like wing, and this kind of sickly green-yellow skin, almost like Bowser turtle-esque, like in this face. but more fleshy and flabby. It carries this kind of staff, as it kind of like a walking stick, as it's to its left. You see what looks like a slightly smaller pit fiend, subservient to it, very clearly like waiting on it. And as you're kind of scanning across, you see this figure as a high ranking, as a leader here, as something to that effect.
Yes, my question is, do we give him something to look at and then take the open direction? Or is that he'd have to look in the opposite direction of that? And I don't know if that'll just call out more search parties.
Yeah. If you like use that flare, Anna, that you stole on one of those spiders, like it wasn't like a gap part for gasoline, or like we don't think that thing's flammable. I guess everything in hell is probably not very flammable.
So remind me, the flare goes in the ground and then the spider goes towards the flare. So in theory, could we plant a flare to draw a spider to an area we want it to go?
It's possible.
But we don't know what the pattern of that is. So if we put it in a weird spot, someone might think, well, why the fuck is that there? I'm trying to think if there's a way to draw a spider into more of the open terrain so that we can use it.
That's interesting.
But
and then use it to like...
Just use it as cover. For at least like as something to dash to hide under temporarily. Or, draw it to a place and use something like acid or something to like... You just gotta fuck up like one little joint or one little part so it's just not functioning as perfectly as it needs to be. And that might be enough to draw attention in a different direction. I'm just concerned about fucking with them so close to that area and then trying to get out of there into the open area.
What, like, cantrips does Gord have?
Well, that would still count as casting a spell.
But he can go invisible again pretty quick, right? Is that will?
Oh, that's fair.
It's still an action, though, in terms of combat.
So he's going to be at least visible for an action.
It would break for a round.
Hondo also has, Kevin and I were talking earlier, magic batteries.
He has batteries?
He has magic batteries that we stole from the general's, like, underground bunker with the thing that we turn into a duck. So, in theory, those make a big fucking boom if the right thing hits them. So those are also a potential good distraction.
Okay, hear me out. You tie a flare to the battery. Flare goes down, hopefully battery goes boom. And hopefully if you timed it right, when the flare is happening, the spider goes near it, and then it goes boom near the spider.
I think we can arrange this.
That could be interesting. Does the flare like burn down, and do we know what it takes to explode one of these magic batteries? We know we had to be very careful with them. That's all I remember.
To be very careful with them. If the kind of housing becomes unstable, becomes cracked or broken in any way, it becomes unstable and can just explode. It doesn't necessarily require like fire to ignite it because it's not like a flammable liquid inside or anything like that. Itself just being like the container of magic that is within being ruptured can cause an explosion.
What if we do a lot of things? Sorry,
I was just going to say your plan still works if you position the battery below ground, so dig into it to blow it.
Okay.
If it stepped on it like a
basically like a landmine.
Yeah.
It's heavy enough to cause that.
You could also put the battery next to your fire thing if you wanted to. Your fire bottle thing.
That would probably be enough to cause a rupture.
Even if we buried them kind of beside each other. Now we hope it steps on it. That's the thing. You have to do the math to try to make sure it steps on it. What was my other thought?
You could just try and have it too that the flare burns down, gets close enough to that thing, ignites the battery.
I have scraps of black powder left. A handful, but I don't know if that's going to do anything.
You could salt bay the battery, when Honda puts it down.
You don't have enough to do any kind of real. You could make.
My thought was just basically once it gets low enough. I don't know. It's like a way to make the flare last potentially slightly longer if we need to, but I guess it wouldn't be enough.
So what if Hondo plants battery with flare, lights flare, scampers back, flare goes off, spiders are drawn to, maybe a bunch are drawn towards that. Spider goes towards flare, it ignites the battery, then we sprint across the field, hopefully in the chaos of whatever happens next. Is that the idea?
The only downside could be the exact same thing happens that it just did, where it actually just draws so much attention that now people are out looking at what the fuck happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a cool idea. I think what could potentially... Hondo has no way of teleporting super fucking far or anything like that. Almost to stay with it as long as possible. And then rather than being seen running away from it...
What were you going to say, H?
I can go to the astral plane.
Can't. It's tough down here.
We don't know for sure if that'll work in hell.
Yeah, that one's a question, right? In terms of teleporting, he does have Whisper. It would break his invisibility, but he could throw Whisper as long as he hits a point, could teleport. And he does have Sharpshooter, so he could throw pretty far.
60 feet.
It's not a full dimension door.
But it breaks invisibility.
Yeah, it breaks his invisibility for sure, but if the jig is up, the jig is up.
It's time to go. We gotta do something, gang. Yeah, what are we gonna do?
You could either... I think the question I have is if you want to draw a machine out, where are you drawing it to? And what path are you trying to open up for yourself?
This is where I'm struggling because I'm just always have a hard time.
I guess I was thinking that maybe down the middle would be clearest if we drew it. If I envision it if left is closer to the wall where the spiders are happening, and center is a straight shot but no cover, and right is lava, that if we made a big distraction in the left with the spider, we could go straight down the middle or even lava cusp area.
Yeah, I mean, if you cause enough of a distraction left, what I'll say is the investment here would be time to set the trap, to wait for it to trip, hope that everything goes exactly as you want it to, and then make the run. So it'll be an investment of you're not sure how long. You're not sure if they take the bait.
Can I pull out a spyglass and try to track down someone lighting one of these flares and just see how long it takes to get a quarter way or halfway, enough where I can make a calculation on how long it'll take to burn?
Sure. I mean, you got to watch for time.
I guess you're right.
Not that I want to reenact this part of Critical Role, but if we took out the flying carpet, and I know it's visible, but if we got towards the lava area and took out the carpet, then at least we have a little bit of safety from falling. Gord can literally levitate at will. So he could levitate. I have wings. It would just be you three that could be on this carpet.
And doing what, though?
Can you... actually, I've got Gord's character sheet here, so I was curious.
Just to run?
Does activating an item...
break it?
I thought it just said casting a spell or...
attacks or cast spells. So yeah, you can still use items.
Yeah, that's why that's the way to get around, is we're just trying to figure out what stuff we have. Another option, if it's just using an item, we have a crazy ass genie in a bottle.
I thought about it.
That's up to Hondo.
Hondo wants to kill the devil with this genie.
The genie causes fire damage.
The fire
I just
genie?
need to, as long as everyone knows, that the devil is immune to fire damage, and the genie causes fire damage. So maybe we'll get lucky and it'll give us a wish, or maybe it gets the fights for you but does nothing, or maybe it gets the fights everything and now it's only hurting us.
And I don't think it fights everything. It tries to kill you. It tries to go after you.
I think it becomes hostile to everything, but it's just not going to do anything to the devil. It's literally just like all of its attacks are going to be immune.
Do they have true sight?
Ifritis?
Yeah.
Do
we know?
God.
I don't think you guys would know, but I want to know.
Because in theory, even if it's hostile to everything, but it doesn't know we're there.
You're not sure?
Great.
Hondo wants to put the devil in the genie bottle. Take
the
the
fuck
genie
would that
out,
work?
put the devil in the bottle.
When these actions-
Kyle, you described the lava area. Like,
Mhm.
is that a lower ridge? Like, could we try and go over it with the carpet?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like a 20-foot like cliff that drops down on a bit of a slope, kind of similar to like the slope where Frodo and Sam are like they use the cloak to like shield themselves. It's like all very rocky, very volcanic rock.
Like shale, like slippery.
Yeah, so like it's a slow descent like that, and then a river that's like a fissure has broken, so it's like a cracked edge, and then it's broken from underneath and is flowing towards Malsheem.
That's where we want to go.
So you do have
theory,
like a 20-foot drop, and then like can kind of hug the side of the mountain that gives you cover from like half, if not 3/4 visual from the mountain. Anything that's at the very top could possibly see, but at that range, true sight's not long enough to hit you.
So what if we fuck it? Like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Try to find a row that one of these spiders is already in. That's on the left side. A little further down, put down the, bomb
flare plan.
Bomb flare combo. While someone's doing that, or a couple people are working on that, someone else is working on getting the carpet ready. And then you have to just, like, before it goes off, start going so that you can potentially meet up, and then hopefully while the chaos is happening, we're already behind the ridge. Like you said, then we can travel by air a little more scrupulously.
I like it.
Okay. Again, I will just say that doing both is at the same time makes a lot of sense. However, to go back to the field to like find a spot to get where a harvester is going to be an investment of, I would say, at least a half hour of time to get there, plant stuff, and get back safely.
No, we can't do that.
To still be stealthy.
Let's just do lava.
If you want to just open it up, you can open it up and just run.
I like lava.
Let's do lava with carpet.
Okay.
So how do we feel about this?
Yeah, that's too long. We can't take that long.
Just to do things like stealthy properly to get back to that range. Like, you've already crossed paths where the nearest active harvester is.
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking of trying to pull one of the ones that was closer to the...
The ones that are closest are like interacting with the mountain. So now they're in a different... Like, they're not actively leaving.
I understand. They would not go and look for a thing. So that's my misunderstanding. Okay. Well,
you can still use them to cause a distraction, but you got to get closer to the mountain.
And then get out of there without being seen. That's my concern.
Yeah. That's part 2.
Okay. Let's go to the side of the ridge. Try and take out this carpet. Hondo, Raleigh, Mary could be on this carpet. If Gord is levitating and I'm flying, can I just push him?
You can, however, with both of you invisible, it's gonna be weird.
Yeah, it's awkward.
But you
Maybe
can.
Gorge just go on the carpet.
Or can go on the carpet.
Guys just can't fall off this carpet into the lava. It'll be very bad news.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
as you guys make your decision, I need everyone to make a stealth check at disadvantage going down the slope, as it is shale and it does scatter under your feet. So,
Is this straight because invisibility, or
straight because of invisibility?
Okay.
So straight stealth rolls again for everybody.
19.
Okay.
16.
28.
I rolled a 17, which is bad for me.
17 flat for you?
I rolled
Natural
5
2 for
5 on the
Kevin,
dice.
but it's a 10, which
Plus
becomes
whatever.
27 or something like that. What's your minimum?
17.
Yeah, you fucking asshole. Okay, 17, 16, 19. Those are right on that old cusp line. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what I'll say is you guys begin to make your way down the edge of the slope, down the rock towards the lava. Again, knowing it takes a solid minute or two to get the carpet out of the bag of holding, you begin that process. Is anyone keeping watch or like keeping eyes out who's not interacting with the carpet?
Because I have wings, I don't have to do this as much, so I can keep a watch out.
You make a perception check as you kind of pick up as is it your bag of holding it's in, or Gord's?
It's Val.
Yeah, so I can just give them my bag while I do this. 30?
Okay. So you leave your bag with someone else. A 30. Great. As everyone goes down, you all see and feel the sounds of like the falling rock. It is evident to all of you that like if something was watching here, it would have seen or heard movement. Whether that was enough to trigger them to come and look, you hope not. So you begin continuing getting the carpet out and getting your plan. You've got a little bit of a shelf to kind of like keep underneath a little bit, right on the bottom. But the heat of that lava is an ominous kind of portent for things to go wrong. Val, as you kind of fly up invisibly, keep an eyes set on the mountain. You can see that creature that Mary had kind of pointed out. This like leader creature, this green fleshy figure, is actively pointing that staff, that stick, in the direction of where you guys just were. And he kind of gestures to his pit fiend and does a little one of these, and you see two of the Aranesses lift up from their perch and dive. They, at their flying speed, will reach the edge of the cliff in 4 rounds by your eyes.
Okay.
You know an Aranes and a pit fiend has true sight.
Mm-hmm.
If they cross the over top of here, you don't have cover from above and from the side. You only have cover from the side of the mountain. If they get here and your friends are there, you'll be spotted.
Yeah, like we can't full throttle it forward to try and get to cover.
You can certainly try and just keep moving forward and try and just like before they get to you, move as fast as you can on foot, but the carpet's not out yet.
I see. The carpet's not out yet. That's the problem. I'll radio this to the group because we're going to need quick advice here. Like we could try and use the flare as like just put the flare here as if some dummy put a flare over this way.
What I'll say is if you've got 5 or 6 rounds of like full dash, full movement abilities, what can you do with that? You could, in theory, clear enough room that they won't catch up to you immediately.
Yeah, maybe we just dash. Maybe we just fucking go.
Like if you use some features, some abilities, in theory, you've got a number of rounds. You got 30 seconds.
Let's just dash forward. Fuck the carpet. We'll dash forward on this side. Just go as quick as we can.
Hondo and I can move really fucking fast.
Mhm.
It's a question of Hondo can move really, really fucking fast now. He's mobile.
Or it can move really fucking fast.
Gord?
Of course, I have feeling.
Gord has feeling
Oh,
agility.
feline agility.
You can do it
So
once.
it's you and Alana that, I mean,
I
you
got
can
wings.
fly. So it's Alana that we might be concerned about leaving behind. Because she can only get, like, oh wait, you have boots of starting and springing, so at the very least it's 60.
She's moving the same speed as Gord would be. Because Gord can only do his feeling agility once before he has to stay still for a round.
Mhm.
Okay.
So he can get an initial burst of speed, but then it's
I'm
at
trying
the
to
same
think if
speed
there's-
as Ellie.
If there's anything we could do to put near the rocky area that would be a reasonable reason for the sound, like you mentioned with the flare, like what's something else that could have caused rocks to slide that doesn't require illusion, that's not anything else.
I'll also say, just to put it out there, in theory, you are invisible. They'll have true sight on you, but like, I guess that would nullify the surprise. But in theory, you could position yourselves in such a way to get a surprise round and
But it's
just
on-
murk them.
2 Arianesses
Wow.
and a Pit Fiend, right?
That's who began the trajectory. The 2 Aaron Yeses are the ones who are really coming. The Pit Fiend is lagging behind. Or you can run.
We don't know.
Choices.
I don't remember how
Time.
hard they were. I know. I'm trying to think if we could fuck them up and throw them in the lava. Their bodies are disintegrated. There's no evidence. But
You don't
we
have
have
time
to do
to
it
think. What do you
really
do?
fast.
We run.
Yeah.
Valentine's diving. You're running.
I call it. Run forward.
Okay.
We need to
you
get us
run.
away from here as quick as we can.
Everyone's-
Rocks fall sometimes. Like, who gives a shit? Maybe they're just like, oh, look at these rocks, they fell.
It happens. It's the same thing that happened in Lord of the Rings. The 5 of you begin sprinting forward, shoving the bag holding closed and the part of the carpet you pulled out back inside and begin running as fast as you can. I'm going to ask for not stealth. I'm deciding if I want just a straight dexterity saving throw. We're going to call it a dexterity check, not save, or acrobatics if you're proficient.
Okay.
Only if you're proficient in acrobatics, you can make an acrobatics check. If you're not proficient in acrobatics, it's just a dexterity check. So
Dex save.
no, check
Check. Sorry.
for everybody. This is going to
28.
determine how well you can run along without slipping towards ye old lava.
26.
Great. Two good starts. Big
If I'm
successes.
flying, can I just give advantage to someone?
Yes, sorry. I suppose if you're flying, you don't necessarily need this to make that check.
I'll give it to probably Brawley, I'll be honest. It's either Brawley or Gord. But I just said Brawley first, so I'll do Brawley.
Okay, so Allie, you have advantage on acrobatics or straight dexterity.
Okay, 1 sec.
And Hondo, acrobatics, I assume?
I rolled a 2, but I'm proficient in acrobatics.
You're fine. Sea legs carrying you safely
Oh.
along, shifting rocks. It comes
The drunk
down
Jack
to-
Sparrow run 100% from
See
Hondo.
It comes down to Gord and Alana.
23.
Nice.
23.
16.
Was that with advantage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn.
16 is not going to do it.
Can I use Indomitable?
This is not a saving throw specifically. This is a check.
Okay.
If you have... No, you don't have inspiration.
No.
I don't think there's any other bonuses you have.
No. Okay. Oh, good.
As you are running... Oh, I need to find the lava rules.
Oh, God.
No.
That's bad.
It's not good. It's not the worst thing. This is not a full submersion. That's for
Okay.
sure. This is going to be a step. Where's lava?
Full submerge.
No, not
18,
a full submersion.
just for
18d10.
fun. 18d10 is full submerge.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. If you fell into lava or starts your turn there, you take 10d10, not being fully submerged. This is just going to be a touch, though. It's going to be half as much 5d10 fire damage.
Just a little splash. A little splash.
Little splash. As Allie, you're running, and like just some of the shell kind of gives out, and your leg just slips out from under you. And as it slips, like your whole body slides, and a splash of lava like reaches up over your boot and gets up to your right calf, and like little splatters up along your bare arms, and you suffer 27 points of fire damage.
Oof.
As it just singes. You grin and bear it. With Valentine's help, pull yourself up further and begin sprinting. You're all taking dashes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's round 1. So everyone's dash, keeping roughly in the same pace. The slowest of you can only move 60. So 60 times 5 would be 300 feet. Right?
Mm-hmm.
300 feet is outside of their range. However, I'm going to ask for one additional acrobatics or dexterity check before we reach a safe position.
Raleigh, you
As
have
you are
advantage on this. I'll give you the
full
advantage.
running.
Can I inspire Gord for this? Is that okay?
Sure.
Advantage for her, Brawley? Okay, Gord, I
Yeah.
inspire you. I say, come on, Gord, you can do it.
24.
24, success.
What check? What roll is this, sir?
Either acrobatics if you're proficient or straight dexterity.
12,
Hondo,
roll 23.
you are good. Sea legs again, carrying you to safety.
20.
Success.
Amazing. Come on, bro.
Oh no, 9.
With advantage?
Yeah, I rolled a
You-
6 and a 9.
Oh,
Oh,
my
shit.
god.
The damn 69.
Not nice in this case.
Slightly better roll for you. Again, your footing just it's not kind here, and you just keep getting caught in these smaller grooves, smaller like little landslides that carry out your lower center of gravity. Just when you slip out hard. You take 25 points of fire damage on this second dash with the lava as Val pulls you back out. With a full round of dashing, that pulls you outside of their true sight range, but you look back to see the two Aaron Yeses fly out and around, like the round before you hit that last kind of round, and they are searching and they see the spot where you left because it's a very evident spot. With 2 falls, there's evidence of a trail. But
Could I
how quickly they pick it up, I'm going to base on a roll. Go
That's
ahead.
true.
while we're running at some point, pull out, like, because I could use my dash to make up for using an action to do something, right? I can use my bonus action dash, so we're all still together.
Yep.
Could I pull out some kind of cloak or something and throw it so that it's like toss it so that it's partially in the lava, so it looks like something fell in and like potentially got swallowed by the lava? At least it's my point, they might stop and investigate and give us more time to get away.
Yeah, I mean, if you throw a piece of cloth into lava, it's going to immediately ignite. So it's going to be like a pyre until it burns away.
You could throw it like up the ridge or something. I don't know.
But it needs to, like, the whole point is to look like someone or something fell into the lava, was my thought.
If you did it early enough, it could look like that? Or
Yeah.
after Allie's
Yeah, just-
first fall?
How about
Sure.
a log?
Well, it needs to look like a person or a thing because that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, so like a big piece of wood.
Where are we going to get a big piece of wood?
Be some scrap lying around.
I thought
Oh,
that was
this-
a perfect Hondo line to say, I'll show you a big piece of wood.
Yeah, I got a big piece of wood right here.
You throw an old cloak or your own cloak into the lava after Allie's first fall. And as
I'll
you guys
throw
are,
the one that I had a cloak for cold weather that I don't fucking need anymore. We're not going
Yeah.
back to that part of hell.
Like you don't need that anymore.
they did not roll a particularly high investigation check. Hey, they did not roll a high investigation check. And as they settle in to look, obviously there is a trail leading to you guys. You know it will be found. But you've moved and are still all invisible because Valentine, Gord, and Hondo took no damage. They cannot see through your invisibility at this range. You've gotten away. You know they will be on your tail, so you got to keep moving. But for the time being, you've crossed the spawning grounds, and this river will conveniently lead you past the spawning grounds into the cliffside, overlooking a boiling lake, a river of lava and blood. That very likely is the river Styx. In the middle of the lake of fire floats the citadel, rising from a point, maybe 50 to 100 feet from the surface of the lake, from a point like a skinny tower that rises up to a flat top crowned in these immense spikes, like an infernal nail covered in spires and spines. All along the sides, you can see small windows and alcoves and fires burning, and inset in a number of places you can see these massive bells that kind of hang off the side that are like bell towers to the nth degree size. You can see tethering the tower itself to Nessus, to the land masses, are enormous chains of iron that connect to the rock around the lake of fire. And you see also a series of thin land bridges that reach high over the lava, impossibly, seemingly seeming to stretch with nothing to hold them aloft, held by some infernal magic that lead to various entry points. You see jets of magma and boiling steam burst from the surface of the rock itself in various points, but also the lake, like a bubbling cauldron. At this point, this mouth of where this basically lava waterfall begins to flow down below, where you stand, you can look and see to your left a river leads into this lake, and to the right it seems to continue and snake off to the east, where it dips below and out of sight. But you know, to your east, a levee stands, awaiting commands to be unleashed upon Vesaria, into the gates and on to your homeland. You can't see the Legion of Hell from here, but now this presence, the sounds of the roaring and braying monsters that are actively gearing up for the slaughter of your home, is very evident. You can hear them to the east. Your destination, however, does not take you within East or Malsheem. Instead, you know to look now for the signs of a craterous impact and a winding descent within. As you begin to look across the surface, to the left, to the north, to the east, for any sign of the coil, you begin this next leg. The sound of a fiery tear catches your ears and draws your eyes skyward. You expect to see a meteor of flame falling, as you've seen in the distance, across the expanse of hell. But instead, through the haze, in the flaming skies above the dark tower, you see a rift open. It's too far to make out any clear detail, but you can see into this rift a portal or a gate onto a dark, cavernous space. Within the darkness is an undulating, deep purple glow. And in this frozen moment of confusion, still catching your breath from your encounter, your run. The lowest bell on the tower swings and rings out a hollow tone. And from atop the tower, you see a flash of golden light that shockwaves out. Just boom. As another second passes, you watch as a massive projectile is launched from the top of the open tower through the open rift. It seems to catch beyond this ring of fire within the portal, and it leaves behind a tether of fiery gold that suddenly goes taut, directly connecting the top of Malsheem to whatever lies beyond that portal. It all grows silent once more, beyond the sounds of the bubbling cauldron of fire and blood and the braying monsters to the east. What do you do?
The fuck is that?
Maybe that's how he makes our home the 10th layer. He brings the 9th into the 10th. It's like when you do like a stitch and bring it through. Portal. We gotta keep going.
That was the first spell. That happened to the first spell. We don't know how many there are, right? Can I count? Can we see bells?
Mm-hmm. You can make a perception or investigation.
I will use my spyglass and try to find them.
Make a perception check.
Why are you using the hell out of the spyglass?
Look, I'm pissed. I did not think about this in our third session, okay? It would make sense for me to have the entire fucking time. I can read lips, but I've never been able to see people's faces, so I'm angry at myself for not thinking about this sooner. I rolled actually okay. Not excellent, but okay. Perception. Sorry, you said perception or?
Perception. I was going to give you investigation, but perception is the one that makes sense.
21. No, 22.
You know the tower
really
to
that
be,
advantage.
It's a tower, so it's got a side you can't see, and it doesn't shift or move. But you can see, with confidence, you can see, they begin to kind of spiral around as they build up to the top, and you can see 1, 2, 3, the edge of 4, 5, the edge. You see 6 or 7. You imagine 7, and there's probably 2 sides that you can't fully see between 7 and 9.
9 layers of hell. 8 layers of hell. Make a 9th. 1 bell for every layer.
It was the lowest layer. You said the lowest bell. What do we know about the way the first layer? It's very red, right? That's like a Avernus-y kind of. The first layer of hell.
Avernus is the first layer, yeah.
That's more red.
More red?
I'm trying to think, like, if we look through the portal, and if Val's thought is right, and that's another layer of hell, I'm trying to figure out if the layers that we know about would match any coloration or anything like that we see through the portal. Like, for example, we know the other one is like snowy, like.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. You do have the spyglass, which gives you that extra range to try and see through. So I would give you another perception check, but it's going to be a straight roll because it's like a distance even further than your spyglass can buy you. So you don't get any advantage, but you could make a check that might give you more information.
Could I actually give it to Val because he has more like Arcana-y and history knowledge than me?
Sure.
And ask him, like, point it out and say, hey, like, take a look. Does that give you any other ideas of other layers of hell if your theory's correct?
It's a straight perception roll to see if you can spot anything that would give any identifying marks.
I've never been, but that's it's
a very hard DC.
32.
30 was the DC.
I rolled 17. I had 15.
It's so far away that this Spyglass is getting you a little bit closer. You get a better look at towards like the top of the tower, and this sits roughly. It's hard to gauge the distance, just like the positioning, but anywhere within 60 to 100 and something kind of feet above the tower. When you look through this rift, you can see the golden tether is a chain attached to what looks like a massive, like a javelin or a spike or an arrow fired, a crossbow bolt, and it's embedded deeply into a surface that is cracked from where it struck, and that crack where it's cracked, you can see this kind of sparking of energy. You can see like a magical source that is mingling with the innate kind of magic of this chain and pierced point, whatever you want to call it. The first thing you gather is the full surface of what you're seeing through the portal is not earth or stone or grass or terrain that you're familiar with. It looks like crystal or gem. You throw a 32. You can just make out a large sigil that has been etched into this kind of gem, and right where the javelin or whatever has pierced into, that is kind of like singed and burned into the gem or crystal, like whatever the surface of this place is. You can see ant-like figures, like it's so far away you can see like very small figures moving about. You can see like a larger figure, but then a couple of other humanoid size similarly shaped, but you can't get any detail even with a 32. It's just too far away. They look like black shapes. But that energy that's kind of roiling and shifting beneath the surface of this gem or crystal, it seems innate, or something bound, or like ice over water that contains an aurora.
I'll relay that all back to the group and marry her spyglass back.
I will leave one last point, is that there is no other source of light that you can see. It's otherwise very, very dark. The light seems to only be coming from beneath the surface of the world that they are in.
Wow. How big do you think this crystal is?
How big?
Yeah.
It looks pretty big. Why? What do you think?
I'm worried about the crystal in the middle of a cow. It's nighttime. It's the same shit that all these gate gems are made of.
It's fair. It's fair.
So what if they're not pulling other layers of hell here? They're pulling it into the already weakened scar.
Yeah, that'd be really bad. We can't worry about some of this stuff right now. We gotta find Serpent's Coil and get down there and start fighting this assault.
Hopefully if he stops, whatever the fuck this is stops.
Well, let's give him something to be distracted by. We know our little mission was find the base of the Serpent's Coil, which is in the base of Malsheem. The Serpent's Coil is where his true form lies. So can we see a way to that bottom of Malsheem, like the nail itself?
You can see it, but it's just a lake of fire. in your flying form, because you can kind of fly up and get a bit of an aerial perspective, make an investigation or perception check. If you use the spyglass, you can gain advantage.
May I need this back? Use perception.
Yeah.
God, fuck. I'm gonna have a peerless skillet. Rolled 2 3s. Let's throw in another little inspo here. So 18 12 plus 6 is 24.
Okay. At the base of Malsheem is where we are. In theory, this is a crater at the base below the lava, possibly, or in a fissure in the wall, perhaps. And as you kind of use that theory, you start looking through fissures, and on the not directly opposite you, but kind of off at like your 10, 11 o'clock, looking at the tower, 10, 11 o'clock, you can see a kind of a sunken section and a larger fissure and a series of other kind of splintering fissures. And as you get a little higher, there is a deep slope and a large, wide rim around. At a distance, looks like a large crater.
I think I found it.
Just on the other side of the river, or of the well here, not far from all of you.
We'd have to carpet or fly over, though, right?
You could skirt the exterior and take a little bit more time, or you could fly straight. Both are acceptable. It would be faster to go straight, but you could just walk around the exterior in an extra 10, 15 minutes.
Why don't we fly? Let's do a little carpet fly over. You guys cool with that?
Is this like bubbling and popping where the carpet could?
You're way up.
Okay.
It's a 90, 200 foot down to the lowest surface. You're up on a cliff. You're not in any risk here.
Oh, no, my good man. Want to carpet us over this?
Mm-hmm.
Using the carpet, you begin to cross the River of Fire, base of Asmodeus' tower. Go ahead.
I was going to mention, Ellie and I were talking in the chat. She can just dodge and burn her hit dice, right?
Mm-hmm.
As part of her thing, because she has kind of hurt.
Oh yeah.
So she could use her action on the carpet to heal up.
She could use some hit dice if she wanted to use some more hit dice. Yeah. That'll out.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem.
Oh my God, Allie, your mic now is so good. It's like right there. Jesus.
In only a few short minutes, you dash across this well of lava with the Tower of Malsheem and this flaming portal to lands unknown. Plans unknown. And as you get closer and closer, you do indeed see a crater of barren earth. Everything here has been barren. But somehow, as you get closer and you, without even touching down, crossing into this crater and slowly descending towards what looks like a larger kind of crack right in the middle, there is a desaturation to the land. It's no longer red. It's flecked with red, but it's otherwise gray or white, as if even the color has been sapped from this place by pure malice and evil. Your stomachs begin to kind of bubble with nausea. Everything in your body is screaming at you to run. This place is arguably the most evil place you've ever been, even having set foot in Carval's dungeon in the abyss, tangling with Orcus in his demigod former mind. This place is born of evil and still a living evil entity, hidden, older, deeper beneath. You all fly right to the edge and look to the descent to to your potential final steps. And that descent will be played out in our next game.